Chapter 979. Betting. In truth, it was no wonder that the martial artists of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion didn't think highly of the eight-legged centipede. This was because the eight-legged centipede was completely rooted to the spot and did not put up any resistance. Bao Chang has already disappeared into the void, yet you still haven't reacted. Aren't you courting death? You seem to be very pessimistic about the eight-legged centipede. Hearing the discussions of the Nine Furnace Divine Pavilion martial artists, Ningyu maintained his composure and said, "How about we make a bet?" Ha ha ha. A third-grade human sovereign from the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion laughed wildly. The eight-legged centipede is about to be killed, and you're still in the mood to bet here? Of all the martial artists in the hall, the only one I admire is you. Since you want to bet, I'll bet with you. As long as the eight-legged centipede can defeat Bao Chang, I'll give you 100 pieces of sovereign-grade essence crystals. You have the nerve to speak of 100 royal-grade origin crystals? Aren't you ashamed? Ningyu curled his lips and said, "You." After being ridiculed by Ningyu in front of so many people, the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade supreme being gnashed his teeth in anger. "Cut the crap. I'll take out 2,000 royal-grade origin crystals." Ningyu flicked his wrist and withdrew the storage pouch he'd won earlier, then said, "I'll give all of you 3 seconds to gather. If you're able to gather 2,000 Emperor-grade origin crystals, then we'll bet. If you're unable to gather it, then don't talk big." Bang! Right at this moment, a clear and melodious voice resounded within the core hall. Bao Chang seized the opportunity and punched the eight-legged centipede's chest. The tremendous force sent the eight-legged centipede flying several meters away. It only stopped when its body collided with the high platform. Poochie. The eight-legged centipede's peak fourth-grade human sovereign aura instantly dropped to the third-grade human sovereign level. Voila! When the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion martial artists saw the eight-legged centipede being forced back, they were stunned. However, after a brief daze, they reacted. "I have 50 royal-grade origin crystals. Here, these are my 120 royal-grade origin crystals. Count me in as well. 30 royal-grade origin crystals." The martial artists of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion were not fools. They all began to bet. The eight-legged centipede had already been beaten back by Bao Chang, so its defeat was only a matter of time. Even the cultivators of the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Yin sect wanted to join in and bet. After all, he had won for nothing. "Ningyu, we've gathered a total of 2,085 royal-grade origin crystals." After a while, the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade human sovereign slowly walked in front of Ningyu and said, "If you can take out that many royal-grade origin crystals, our bet will take effect immediately. I have no objections." Ningyu flicked his wrist and fished out another 100 pieces of royal-grade essence crystals. Then, Ningyu threw the storage pouch to the side and said, "Let's throw all the crystals here. If the eight-legged centipede wins, they will all be mine. If not, they will all belong to you." Okay. The Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade human sovereign threw the storage pouch and said sinisterly, "It seems that going to the Beast King Palace was a very wise choice. I can actually win more than 2,000 royal-grade origin crystals. Eight-legged centipede, if Bao Chang disappears again, I'll tell you his specific location." Ningyu did not want to get entangled with the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's third-grade human sovereign, so he directly transmitted his voice to the eight-legged centipede. "Can you really find his specific location?" The eight-legged centipede hesitated and did not dare to believe it. Just now, the eight-legged centipede had already seen how terrifying Bao Chang was. Bao Chang was hiding in the void. Even if the eight-legged centipede used all its skills, there was no way to find Bao Chang's specific location. Ningyu was only a half-step supreme. Although he was strong, it should be difficult for him to find Bao Chang's location, right? If you don't want to die, then do as I say. Ningyu did not want to get entangled with the eight-legged centipede for too long. Bao Chang was already about to launch his second round of attacks, and you're still suspecting each other? Aren't you just digging your own grave? Swish. Just as Ningyu's voice fell, Bao Chang's figure flashed and he charged at the eight-legged centipede at an astonishing speed. Bao Chang was very dissatisfied that he did not manage to kill the eight-legged centipede with his first move. Now, for the second move, Bao Chang used all the strength in his body. He poured all his yuan qi into his wrist and punched at the eight-legged centipede. Kai kai. Just as he was about to reach the eight-legged centipede, Bao Chang's figure gradually turned illusory. In the end, he completely disappeared. Seeing Bao Chang disappear, the eight-legged centipede's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of fear. It had not been able to defend against Bao Chang the first time. One could well imagine that even if it didn't die this time, it would still end up crippled. East, 5 steps. Just then, Ningyu's voice rang in the eight-legged centipede's ears. Hearing the voice that sounded like it was saving its life, the eight-legged centipede gritted its teeth. It could only make a desperate attempt. Swoosh! The eight-legged centipede instantly launched an earth-shattering attack. The target of the eight-legged centipede's attack was exactly 5 steps to the east. What? Not long after the eight-legged centipede launched this extremely terrifying attack, an exclamation came from the void. Bao Chang! Without a doubt, the exclamation came from Bao Chang. Bao Chang had never expected that the concealment technique he was so proud of would be discovered by the eight-legged centipede. One must know that the eight-legged centipede was only a 4th-grade human supreme. Since when could a 4th-grade human supreme realm demonic beast see through his art of concealment? This was too illogical. If Bao Chang knew that it was not the eight-legged centipede that had discovered him, but Ningyu, who knew what he would think, he would probably be so angry that he would spit blood. You dare to be distracted now? Take another move. The eight-legged centipede launched another attack when it saw Bao Chang materialize out of thin air. At such a close distance, even if Bao Chang wanted to block, it would be too late. Kai kai. Kai kai. The 2 attacks landed on Bao Chang's body one after the other. Bao Chang spat out 2 streams of dark red blood. His face was drained of blood, and his aura instantly dropped from a peak 4th-grade human supreme to a 1st-grade human supreme. Moreover, Bao Chang's aura continued to drop. At this rate of decline, his cultivation would fall to the blessed realm in 10 seconds at most. Boom! Bao Chang's defeat was clearly beyond the expectations of most people in the core hall. He had already been beaten to the point where he could not resist the first move, so there was no reason for him to counterattack with the second move. This was extremely illogical in a battle. Die! The eight-legged centipede was not an indecisive demonic beast. After succeeding in one move, it immediately launched a second attack. The eight-legged centipede's thoughts were very simple, and that was to kill Bao Chang. Killing Bao Chang would not only give the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion a show of strength, but it would also win more than 2,000 royal grade origin crystals for Ningyu. The eight-legged centipede had another thought. It was a 4th-grade human supreme demonic beast. If it could obtain a large number of royal grade origin crystals, it might even advance to the 5th-grade human supreme. Chapter 980. Kill eight-legged centipede. How dare you kill Bao Chang? I will grind your bones to dust. Although he was joding the Venerable and Earthshaker fighting, he was still paying attention to the battle between Bao Chang and the eight-legged centipede. When Bao Chang had the upper hand at the start, he felt a little relieved. But in the blink of an eye, Bao Chang was actually defeated. Moreover, not only was Bao Chang defeated, but he was also about to be killed. Bao Chang's status in the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion was much higher than He Wen's. If He Wen was killed, he could choose to leave the Beast King Palace to take revenge. But if Bao Chang was killed, he would definitely go crazy. Bao Chang was not only one of the top 10 powerhouses in the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion, but he also had another identity. The 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's Great Elder's last disciple. In the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion, there were 4 people that Joding the Venerable was very wary of. The first one was the Great Elder. This was because the Great Elder's cultivation was very high, a level higher than his. You dare to be distracted while fighting me? You're courting death. How could Earthshaker let Joding the Venerable have free time? He roared and immediately attacked Joding the Venerable without any regard for his life. Kai kai. Earthshaker's attack this time was very powerful. Even the space around him made a hissing sound. Not good, get into formation. Seeing Earthshaker's attack, Venerable Mingyang and Shuntian's expressions changed. The full power of a grade 6 supreme martial artist was very destructive. The first attack from Joding the Venerable and Earthshaker had already killed 3 warriors. This time, Venerable Mingyang and the others naturally had to prepare for their attack. Swish! Seeing that Joding the Venerable and Earthshaker were about to collide, Ningyu's figure flashed and he instantly rushed out. Pa! Ningyu brushed past the storage bags and grabbed both of them. The current situation is very clear. Bao Chang is no match for the 8-legged centipede. It is only a matter of time before he is killed. After Ningyu obtained the storage bag, he waved it at the people from the 9-furnace divine pavilion and said, "I'll take these imperial grade origin crystals first." The martial artists on the side of the 9-furnace divine pavilion all paled. They wanted to attack, but they were afraid of the 8-legged centipede. Joding the Venerable was being held back by the Earthshaker. He would not be able to free himself for a while. Moreover, Bao Chang had suffered heavy injuries and was on the verge of death. The people from the 9-furnace divine pavilion suddenly lost their backbone. They could only stand where they were, not daring to attack. Poochie. Without Joding the Venerable as a hidden threat, the 8-legged centipede flew directly and arrived before Bao Chang in an instant. The 8-legged centipede did not hold back in the slightest as it struck Bao Chang's chest with all its might. The huge force that came from his chest caused Bao Chang's body to fly back several meters. Bao Chang spat out a mouthful of blood and pointed a finger at the 8-legged centipede. He wanted to say something, but before he could finish, he fell to the ground with a thud. At this moment, a peak 4th grade human supreme, Bao Chang, had died on the spot. Shua. After Bao Chang died, the entire core hall fell silent. Even the 9-cauldron Venerable One stopped in midair and stared blankly at Bao Chang, who was lying flat on the ground. Bao Chang was the Great Elder's last disciple. Bao Chang had been killed. How was he going to explain this to the Great Elder? Ka. Joding the Venerable clenched his fists, his face instantly darkening to the extreme. Joding the Venerable was furious. The martial artists from the 9-furnace divine pavilion felt a deep sense of powerlessness rise from the depths of their hearts. It's over. The 9-furnace divine pavilion might be completely annihilated. There were a total of 3 powerhouses from the 9-furnace divine pavilion that went to the Beast King's Hall. A 6th grade human supreme, Joding the Venerable. A peak 4th grade human supreme, Bao Chang. A peak 4th grade human supreme, He Wen. 2 of the 3 powerhouses had been killed, and Joding the Venerable was being held up by the Earthshaker. If the 8-legged centipede attacked them, what would they do? Ha ha ha, since everyone has obtained the treasures and elixirs that they wanted, the battle can come to an end for now. At this moment, Venerable Mingyang's laughter broke the silence. Venerable Mingyang flew to the side of Joding the Venerable and Earthshaker. He smiled and said, "The magic treasure cave has shot out 3 Emperor-grade flying swords and 2 9th-grade elixirs. In my opinion, in less than an hour, the 4 great Vajras under the Beast King will appear in the core hall." Hiss. When the martial artists in the hall heard Venerable Mingyang's words, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. The 4 great Vajras under the Earthshaker. The 4th Vajra, Vajra Goat, was a peak 5th grade human supreme. The 3rd Vajra, Vajra Bao, was a peak 5th grade human supreme. The 2nd Vajra, Vajra Bao, was a peak 5th grade human supreme. The 1st Vajra, Vajra Bao, was a peak 5th grade human supreme who was infinitely close to becoming a 6th grade human supreme. Rumor had it that the 4 great Vajras were extremely powerful and could easily challenge opponents of a higher level. In other words, a peak 5th grade human supreme like the 4 great Vajras could easily fight against a 6th grade human supreme. Venerable Mingyang, no matter what you say today, I will kill the 8-legged centipede. Joding the Venerable snorted and said, "I can let bygones be bygones for Zhongjun's death, and I can wait until we leave the Beast King's palace to settle the score with them. But Bao Chang's death must be avenged now. You can fight if you want, but don't do it in the core hall." Seeing that Joding the Venerable was not giving him any face, Venerable Mingyang said in a deep voice, "Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Who do you think you are to talk to me like that?" Joding the Venerable said coldly, I will kill the 8-legged centipede even if the Emperor of Heaven is here today. No one can stop me. What if we are included? Shantian and Venerable Corpse Crane could no longer bear to Joding the Venerable's arrogance. They came to the Beast King's palace to snatch treasures, not to Joding the Venerable and the Earthshaker's battle. Joding the Venerable's face was extremely ugly. In a one-on-one fight, his strength could be ranked top 3 in the core hall. But in a one-on-one fight, he had no chance of winning. Fine, I'll remember this. After we leave the Beast King's palace, I'll settle the score with you. Joding the Venerable had no choice but to turn around and yell at Ningyu, wash your neck and wait. If I want to kill you, it'll be easier than killing an ant. Anytime. Ningyu shrugged, indicating that he did not care. How weak could the Diamond Ape, which was regarded as the number 1 enemy by the Elder in the Heaven-level palace, be? If everything went according to plan, by the time the Diamond Ape came out, there would be no more than 10 martial artists left alive in the hall. Dark Emperor, Gold-Devouring Lion, when the 4 warriors under the Beast King appear, hide in the storage ring for now. Dark Emperor and Gold-Devouring Lion were the weakest. If they stayed, they would not have a good ending. Chapter 981. Chapter 981, Supreme Immortal Pill Ningyu, show off all you want. Let's see how long you can last. Joding the Venerable couldn't stand Ningyu's reaction. In the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, he had seen many half-step supremes like Ningyu. Every single one of those half-step supreme being martial artists would respectfully greet him as Pavilion Master when they saw him. Ningyu's arrogance disgusted him. He made up his mind to ambush Ningyu as long as he had the chance. He wanted to let Ningyu know what a 6th grade supreme was like. Since no one has any objections, let's recover as soon as possible. In an hour, the 4 great Vajras will most likely appear from the magic treasure cave. Venerable Mingyang's gaze swept across the crowd and he said in a deep voice, when the 4 great Vajras appear, we must work together to deal with them. As long as we can take care of the 4 great Vajras, the magic treasure cave will spit out magic treasures and pills again. Rumor has it that after killing the 4 great Vajras, the magic treasure cave will spit out mid-grade royal rank magic treasures and 10th grade pills. Whoosh! Venerable Mingyang's words ignited the entire core hall. Mid-grade royal rank magic treasures and 10th grade pills. Any one of them would be treasures that everyone would fight over if they were placed outside. Joding the Venerable and the others were fortunate enough to have seen mid-grade royal rank magic treasures, but they had never seen a real 10th grade pill. It was said that 10th grade pills already had their own spirituality, and some could even take the form of a human, with all sorts of strange appearances. In this world, probably all the Supremes hoped to get their hands on a 10th grade pill. If only I could get my hands on a 10th grade pill, I would definitely be able to advance from a 2nd grade human sovereign to a 3rd grade human sovereign. Aren't your ambitions a little too low? If you can get me a 10th grade pill, I'm confident that I can advance to a 4th grade human sovereign. Forget it. You're only a 1st grade human sovereign, and you're dreaming of advancing to a 4th grade human sovereign? What's the difference between that and a toad lusting after a swan? Many of the martial artists in the hall began to discuss. The focus of everyone's discussion was on what realm they could advance to after obtaining a 10th grade medicinal pill. After all, in their hearts, a 10th grade medicinal pill was something that they could only dream of. Ningyu, are you interested in a 10th grade medicinal pill? Talisman Supremacy moved and came to Ningyu's side. He said in a low voice, that 10th grade medicinal pill is called the Supreme Immortal Pill. It's said that its effects are extremely heaven-defying. Supreme Immortal Pill? Hearing this, Ningyu slightly frowned. What? Supreme Immortal Pill? Soon, Ningyu jumped up. Although he was only a peak 9th grade sovereign in his previous life, he had heard of the Sovereign Immortal Pill. On the surface, the Supreme Immortal Pill was related to Supremacy Realm martial artists. However, Ningyu knew that the Supreme Immortal Pill had another function. It had the same effect as the Mystic Moon Jade Tablet. In fact, it was even stronger than the Mystic Moon Jade token. The Mystic Moon Jade Tablet could suppress the extreme yin body, preventing it from exploding due to stimulation. On the other hand, The supreme immortal pill could alleviate the extreme yin body and extend one's lifespan by dozens of years. Some people with the extreme yin body who knew his identity even thought of ways to obtain the supreme immortal pill. But how could the supreme immortal pill be so easily obtained? A 10th grade alchemist was known as a pill emperor. In the vast sky demon domain, there were only a few alchemists that could be known as pill emperors. Seeing Ning Yu's huge reaction, Talisman Supremacy frowned. Have you seen the supreme immortal pill before? No. Ning Yu shook his head. There's only one supreme immortal pill, and there are so many 6th grade sovereigns here. How can I obtain it? Haha, you don't have to worry about that. I will help you when the time comes. Under my cover, who would dare to compete with you for the supreme immortal pill? Talisman Supremacy smiled. What you should be concerned about now is how to escape after obtaining the supreme immortal pill. As long as I can obtain the supreme immortal pill, escaping won't be a problem. Ning Yu said. With the Heaven-Earth Sword Array as his trump card, Ning Yu was extremely confident. If he added in the 7 king grade middle grade flying swords, Ning Yu would be able to break through space and escape. Alright, then let's come to an agreement. I will help you obtain the supreme immortal pill, but you have to ensure my and Yun Mu's safety. Talisman Supremacy transmitted his voice to Ning Yu. Furthermore, you have to give me 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. It's a small matter. After Ning Yu finished his words, he retreated to the side and took out a royal grade origin crystal to refine. Seeing that Ning Yu didn't want to talk, Talisman Supremacy sat down. Aunt Yun, tell Ning Yu that the 10th grade elixir is called the Supreme Immortal Pill. Will there be an accident? Yun Mu frowned his brows as he muttered. No, the Supreme Immortal Pill isn't something that anyone can obtain. Without what we brought, no one can subdue it. The corner of Talisman Supremacy's lips rose. You mean? Yun Mu widened his mouth in disbelief. The Supreme Immortal Pill has already transformed into, don't say what you shouldn't say. Before Yun Mu could finish his words, Talisman Supremacy coldly said, make the best use of your time to recuperate. Don't let the 4 great Vajras under the Beast King injure you, alright. Being reprimanded by Talisman Supremacy, Yun Mu carefully responded and no longer spoke. Ning Yu, the cultivator that spoke to you earlier isn't simple. Just when Ning Yu sat down, the voice of the old man resounded in his ears. I also know that she isn't simple. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to live until now with the cultivation of a pinnacle 1st grade sovereign. Ning Yu said sourly. Venerable Spirit Cauldron, Venerable Evil Dragon, and Venerable Blood Destruction were all 3rd grade sovereigns. A 3rd grade sovereign cultivator couldn't enter the core hall alive, but a 1st grade sovereign, Talisman Supremacy, and Yun Mu managed to enter the core hall. Even a fool would know that they weren't simple. You've misunderstood me. The old man's voice resounded once again. What I meant was that there was a terrifying aura coming from that cultivator. That aura could even be compared to me at my peak. You at your peak. At this moment, Ning Yu's expression finally changed. According to Ning Yu's judgment, the old man's battle prowess at his peak should have reached the level of a pinnacle 6th grade sovereign. He might even have reached the level of a 7th grade sovereign. At my peak, I was an initial 7th grade sovereign. The old man seemed to know what Ning Yu was thinking as he continued, there should be a clone hidden on that cultivator. Clone? Ning Yu raised an eyebrow and said, are you sure? I'm sure. The old man continued, you have to be careful of her. Don't be busy counting money for others when she betrays you. Why did you remind me? Ning Yu slightly knitted his brows as he asked in doubt. Logically speaking, he and the old man were only using each other, so there was no reason for the old man to help him. Haha, the reason why I'm reminding you is because you're more pleasing to the eye. Chapter 982. Swallowing the Chen Yuan pill he reminded me because I'm pleasing to the eye. Who are you trying to fool? Ning Yu curled his lips at the old man's words. He and the old man were in a mutually beneficial relationship. Why would the old man help him if there were no benefits? According to Ning Yu's speculation, the old man was helping him because he wanted the Supreme Celestial Pill. The Supreme Celestial Pill was a Tier 10 pill. Not only could it suppress the extreme yin body, but it was also very effective against illusory bodies. The old man should be existing in the form of an illusory body. As long as he could get the supreme celestial pill and find a way to possess a martial artist, there was a high chance that he could be reborn. Ningyu, do you want to take this Chen Yuan pill? Earthshaker came to Ningyu's side and handed the Chen Yuan pill to Ningyu. How do I take it now? Ningyu took the Chen Yuan pill and rolled his eyes at Earthshaker. There are powerful martial artists everywhere, and there are quite a few Tier 6 supreme martial artists. Swallowing the Chen Yuan pill to cultivate here is no different from courting death. Earthshaker was slightly embarrassed. He had neglected this point. In his opinion, Ningyu's strength was not too strong. If he could refine the Chen Yuan pill, he might even be able to advance to Tier 1 supreme martial artist. The situation was getting more and more dangerous. Even if his cultivation improved a little, he might have a higher chance of survival in the upcoming battle. When you fought with Joding the Venerable just now, you should be able to determine his true strength. Ningyu asked after accepting the Chen Yuan pill. I'm not a match for Joding the Venerable. Earthshaker answered honestly. When Joding the Venerable fought with me, he only used 60% of his strength. He was holding back. If he had used his full strength, I definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand it. He didn't use his full strength. Ningyu frowned. If what Earthshaker said was true, then Joding the Venerable would be a formidable opponent. If I let you consume this Chen Yuan pill, how confident are you that you can defeat Joding the Venerable? After a moment of silence, Ningyu said, Give me the Heaven Essence pill. Hearing this, Earthshaking Bull's eyes flashed with a fiery light. The Heaven Essence pill was a 9th grade elixir. Once he consumed it, he would definitely be able to stabilize his cultivation at the 6th grade human sovereign realm. In fact, Earthshaker's battle prowess was still very strong. He had just advanced to the 6th grade human supreme realm, but he could already fight to a draw with Joding the Venerable at 60% of his strength. One could imagine that if Earthshaker could completely stabilize his cultivation at the 6th grade supreme martial artist realm, he would be able to fight against Joding the Venerable at full strength. As long as I consume the Chen Yuan pill, Joding the Venerable won't be able to do anything to me, Earthshaker said confidently. After that, Earthshaker stared straight at Ningyu, his meaning clear. All right, I believe you. With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu tossed the Heaven Essence pill to Earthshaker. Remember what you said. If Joding the Venerable dares to play any tricks, you have to stop him. I promise. Earthshaker patted his chest and promised. Crack. Then, Earthshaker tossed the Heaven Essence pill into his mouth and chewed. Seeing how impatient Earthshaker was, Ningyu's face darkened. You didn't even prepare the 9th grade Heaven Essence pill, and you just swallowed it. This is too much. The corner of Ningyu's mouth twitched a few times. He ignored Earthshaker and said to the 8-legged centipede, Protect Earthshaker. Don't let anyone disturb him. After that, Ningyu sat cross-legged, took out a piece of royal grade origin crystal, and started cultivating. The Beast King's 4 great guardian deities were all abnormal existences. If Ningyu could not adjust his mental state to its peak, he would not be able to fight against the 4th great warrior, the King Goat. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time was ticking away. As Venerable Mingyang and the rest cultivated, they focused on the magic weapon cave. Last 10 minutes. After 50 minutes, Venerable Mingyang said, Everyone, get ready. Whoosh. As soon as Honorable Mingyang's words rang out, all the warriors in the hall started to retreat. Among them, the 6th grade human supreme, Venerable Mingyang, Shantian, the Venerable Corpse Crane, and Joding the Venerable stood at the front. Behind them were the 4th grade human supreme, 3rd grade human supreme, and 2nd grade human supreme. Earthshaker, what the hell are you doing? Joding the Venerable saw that Earthshaker was still cultivating and immediately scolded. At the same time, the 9 Cauldron Venerable One unleashed his aura to suppress the earth-shaking godly ox. Ningyu scoffed when he sensed the momentum released by the 9 Cauldron Venerable One. He took a step forward and stood in front of the earth-shaking bull. Earthshaker was cultivating. According to Ningyu's estimation, He would need at most 5 minutes to stabilize his cultivation at the 6th grade Human Supreme. At this time, Joding the Venerable wanted to make things difficult for him and wanted to scheme against Earthshaker. Joding the Venerable's idea was something that Ningyu would never be satisfied with. Boom! Not only did Ningyu unleash his aura, even the Dark Emperor, 8-legged centipede, and metal-devouring lion unleashed their aura and stood in front of Earthshaker. "You're courting death." Joding the Venerable bellowed and immediately increased his aura again, suppressing Earthshaker in a frenzy. Just now, Joding the Venerable had only unleashed 50% of his aura. But now, he was unleashing 80% of his aura. Fart! Fart! Under Joding the Venerable's powerful aura, the Dark Emperor and metal-devouring lion were the first to give up. They spat out a mouthful of blood and were sent flying several feet away. Fart! Another minute passed. The 8-legged centipede also could not hold on any longer and spat out a mouthful of blood, following in the footsteps of the Dark Emperor and metal-devouring lion. "Ningyu, let's see how long you can last." Joding the Venerable's lips curled into a smirk. Fart fart. In the next moment, Joding the Venerable unleashed all of his aura without holding back. The 100% aura of a 6th grade pinnacle Human Supreme. Even the space was being squeezed to the point where it made a sizzling sound. Fart. Under Joding the Venerable's powerful aura, even if Ningyu tried his best to resist, it was useless. After all, Ningyu's cultivation base was only at half supreme. Facing the 100% aura of a 6th grade pinnacle Human Supreme, it was already a miracle that he did not die immediately. Heaven and Earth Sword formation. Looking at Earthshaker, who was still cultivating, Ningyu clenched his teeth and was about to summon the Heaven and Earth Sword formation. Roar! However, before Ningyu could summon the Heaven and Earth Sword formation, a deafening roar came from Earthshaker's mouth. Gasp! Hearing the horrifying destructive power contained in the voice, all the cultivators in the core hall sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Venerable Mingyang felt a deep sense of fear from the voice. Earthshaker's strength should be able to fight against me. Venerable Mingyang's expression was extremely solemn. Chapter 983. Vaja Joding the Venerable, you're courting death. With a loud bellow, Earthshaker unleashed his aura. Not only did it resist Joding the Venerable's aura, it even pushed it back. Poochie. Earthshaker's aura was fierce and fast. Joding the Venerable could not react in time and was affected. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Rumble. However, just as the Earthshaker was about to unleash his aura to suppress the Joding the Venerable again, a rumbling sound came from the artifact cave. This is bad. Everyone, retreat quickly. The 4 great warriors under the Beast King are coming out. Venerable Mingyang's expression changed drastically when he heard the rumbling sound, and he immediately retreated. The 4 great Vajras were all top-notch existences. Venerable Mingyang did not want to become their target. Seeing that Venerable Mingyang had retreated, Ningyu and the others did not dare to delay and retreated as well. Rumble. The rumbling continued for a few more minutes. When the 5th minute arrived, 2 figures suddenly flew out of the magic treasure cave. Looking at the 2 figures floating in mid-air, everyone's expression changed drastically. One of them was not a human, but a demonic beast. This demonic beast had 2 horns on its head and a dark golden tail. It looked exactly like a golden war goat. Vaja goat. This demonic beast was one of the 4 King Kong under the Beast King, the King Kong goat. The reason why everyone's expressions changed was because of the Vaja goat's cultivation. Not a peak 5th grade Human Supreme martial artist, but a genuine 6th grade Human Supreme martial artist. Everyone's eyes were on the King Kong goat. As for the figure next to it, no one paid attention to it. That was because that figure was a human with a cultivation of half a step into the Supreme Being realm. Other than Ningyu, which of the cultivators in the hall was lower than the Supreme Being realm? Therefore, it was understandable that everyone ignored that human. Furthermore, the human beside the Vaja goat was wearing a golden armor, so he couldn't see his face at all. Why does it sound so familiar? In the entire core hall, Ningyu was the only one who paid attention to the armored human. I also feel a little familiar. Not only Ningyu, even the Dark Emperor frowned. Venerable Mingyang, didn't you say that the Vajra goat is a pinnacle 5th grade human sovereign? Why is he a 6th grade human supreme martial artist now? Joding the Venerable had an ugly expression on his face. The Vajra goat was only the 4th Vajra. Since the Vajra goat had the cultivation of a 6th grade mortal sovereign, one could imagine how terrifying the other 3 Vajra were. You ask me, but who should I ask? Venerable Mingyang couldn't be bothered with joding the Venerable. Now is not the time to argue. Let's get rid of the Vajra goat before the other 3 come out, Venerable Corpse Crane said in a deep voice. You want to get rid of me? As soon as Venerable Corpse Crane's voice sounded, the Vajra goat's gaze locked onto him and said indifferently. Being locked onto by the Vajra goat's gaze, Venerable Corpse Crane's body trembled. It's actually so powerful. At this moment, Venerable Corpse Crane felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. He could not muster the slightest resistance in his heart. Venerable Corpse Crane even had an illusion that he wasn't a match for the Vajra goat. No matter what, it was impossible for him to defeat the Vajra goat. Watch out, it's the bewilderment art. Venerable Mingyang was knowledgeable as he coldly barked. Huff! Venerable Mingyang's roar was effective. Venerable Corpse Crane instantly reacted and took a few steps back. That feeling just now was too terrifying. If it wasn't for Venerable Mingyang's timely warning, he might even have fallen for it. Haha, not bad, not bad. You actually know that I'm using the bewilderment art. The Vajra goat smiled and continued, I'm resting, but you guys are here fighting and disturbing my peace. I have to teach you guys a lesson. Vajra goat, where are the other 3 Vajra goats? Venerable Mingyang seemed to have become the leader as he coldly said. There's no need for the 3 of them to deal with small shrimps like you. I alone am enough. The Vajra goat said in disdain. We have 5 6th grade sovereigns on our side, and you only have 1. How can you be our opponent? Venerable Mingyang coldly snorted. Who said that I only have 1 6th grade sovereign on my side? Isn't this one? The Vajra goat pushed the human aside and said, this person trespassed into the core hall. I initially wanted to kill him, but he knew some secrets, so I could only let him live. Ha ha ha. Venerable Mingyang raised his head and laughed before he coldly said, he's only a half-step sovereign. Do you think we're 3-year-olds? You guys are indeed 3-year-olds. The Vajra goat curled his lips and took off the golden armor on the human's face. Boom. As soon as the armor was taken off, the human's aura soared into the sky and only stopped when it reached the 6th grade sovereign realm. Pinnacle 6th grade sovereign realm. At this moment, the human's aura had climbed to the pinnacle 6th grade sovereign realm. It didn't make sense at all. What kind of person could make a half-step sovereign realm martial artist advance to the 6th grade sovereign realm in an instant? Don't panic, everyone. He's a pinnacle 6th grade sovereign realm martial artist. Venerable Mingyang stared at the human and said in a clear voice. Whoosh. Venerable Mingyang's words dispelled everyone's worries. Otherwise, they would have run away long ago. Vajra goat. At this moment, Ningyu stomped on the ground and dashed out. In the blink of an eye, Ningyu stood in front of the Vajra goat. I have a request. Ningyu said in a deep voice. Oh. Tell me, what do you want from me? The Vajra goat looked at Ningyu with interest. Let this human go. Ningyu said with a shocking tone. What? Ningyu, have you lost your mind? You must have lost your mind. Pleading with the Vajra goat. Isn't that just nonsense? In my opinion, Ningyu is done for. If he dares to provoke the Vajra goat, it will definitely tear him to pieces. Hearing Ningyu's suicidal words, everyone from the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion mocked him. You're very bold. Why do you want me to let him go? Also, what qualifications do you have to ask me to let him go? The Vajra goat said indifferently. It wasn't angry at Ningyu's unreasonable actions at all. I can block these people for you. Ningyu turned around and swept his gaze across Joding the Venerable and the others. Boom. Ningyu's words caused all the martial artists in the hall to burst into an uproar. When Ningyu said that he wanted to save the human beside the Vajra goat, everyone was shocked. Now, Ningyu said that he wanted to go against everyone. Who wouldn't be angry? Ningyu, you can't be stupid. Chapter 984. The mysterious man. I'm not being stupid. I have to do this. Ningyu said in a deep voice. You have to do this. Hearing that, the Dark Emperor frowned and asked. This time, Ningyu did not answer the Dark Emperor. Instead, he turned to the King Kong goat and said, please remove the human skin mask on his face. Human skin mask. When Venerable Mingyang and the rest heard Ningyu's words, they turned to look at the face of the human next to the King Kong goat. What they saw immediately shocked them. They were not shocked because they found a human skin mask, but because they did not see anything. Are you kidding me? All right, as you wish. No one knew what was wrong with the King Kong goat. It came in front of the human and pulled the human's face. Rip. The King Kong goat used a lot of force and tore a piece of skin off the human's face. What? Seeing the human's true appearance, the Dark Emperor could not help but yell. Shut up. Ningyu turned around and glared at the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor returned to normal after being glared at by Ningyu. It's Ninghai, Ningyu's father. Although he looked calm on the surface, the Dark Emperor's heart was in turmoil. This human was none other than Ningyu's father, Ninghai. There were two reasons why Ningyu went to the Beast King Palace. The first was to find his father, Ninghai. The second was to find the mystic moon jade pendant and try to help Lu Wei solve her extreme yin body. Now that he saw Ninghai, the Dark Emperor understood why Ningyu did this. I don't know him. Venerable Mingyang and Jiuding the Venerable looked at each other and shook their heads. Ever since Ninghai left Tianxian City a long time ago, no one had seen him. It was reasonable that they did not know Venerable Mingyang. Ningyu, are you really going to go against us for this human? Venerable Mingyang scolded Ningyu. The Vaja goat isn't anything good. You working with him is simply helping a villain, Celestial God said coldly. Ningyu, if you dare to cooperate with the King Kong goat, our corpse sect will issue a corpse yin hunting order for you. Venerable Corpse Crane of the Corpse Yin sect said in a deep voice. 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion and Ning, you are irreconcilable enemies. Jiuding the Venerable said. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, I can cooperate with you to deal with the Vaja goat, Corpse Sect, 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, and Blood God Palace. As for the people from the Supreme 9 Purities Palace, Ningyu, don't be hypocritical here. I know what you are thinking. Venerable Mingyang interrupted Ningyu and said coldly, every person in Tianxian City is a good person. After I leave the Beast King Temple, I will go to Tianxian City and start a massacre. I don't believe I can't find that bastard. Bastard? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, the bastard you are talking about, is it the same person Yin Hua mentioned? It is the same person. Venerable Mingyang said without hesitation. However, Reverend Mingyang quickly reacted and hurriedly said, did you kill Yin Hua and Venerable Spirit Cauldron? That's right, I killed him. Since the person Venerable Mingyang and Yin Hua were looking for was Ningyu, then Ningyu and Venerable Mingyang no longer had a trace of guilt in their fight. Since you want to kill me, if I don't resist, I will look like a Virgin Mary. King Kong goat, let him go. I can cooperate with you to deal with anyone here. Ningyu said. All right, I'll let him go because of what you said. King Kong goat was very smart. He kicked Ninghai towards Ningyu. Swish. Swish. Ninghai hadn't flown far when Celestial God Venerable and Venerable Corpse Crane rushed out in unison, each unleashing a fatal attack. Earthshaker. Ninghai was Ningyu's father in this life. No matter what, Ningyu would not allow anything to happen to him. Roar. In fact, there was no need for Ningyu to say it. Earthshaker had already risen from the ground and stood in front of Ninghai when Shintian and Venerable Corpse Crane rushed out. A deafening roar reverberated through the air. Shintian and Venerable Corpse Crane were much weaker than Earthshaker. Seeing that Earthshaker attacked, they instantly retreated. After all, Venerable Mingyang and Jiuding the Venerable did not want to attack. If they attacked now, it would be like standing out. They all understood the principle of shooting the bird that stands out. If they were to attack, they would attack together. No one could act like a coward. Dark Emperor, gold-devouring demon lion, bring him into the storage ring first. Leave the matters here to me. With the help of Earthshaker, Ninghai landed firmly on the ground. Ningyu flicked his wrist and took out the storage ring. Without my permission, none of you can leave the storage ring. Swoosh. As soon as Ningyu finished speaking, a beam of light shot out from the storage ring and illuminated the Dark Emperor and the others within it. Whoosh. In the blink of an eye, the Dark Emperor and the others disappeared. A monarch rank magic treasure? A magic treasure that can store people. Bullsh *T. I know it's a magic treasure that can store people. What I mean is that storage ring a monarch rank magic treasure? You ask me, but who should I ask? In short, that storage ring is a good treasure. Ningyu, I didn't expect you to have so many good treasures on you, Joding the Venerable said sinisterly. After I kill you, this storage ring will belong to me. You want this storage ring? That depends on whether you have the ability, Ningyu said. Ningyu, be careful of the adamantine goat. At this moment, the old man's words resounded in Ningyu's ears again. The adamantine goat is very strong. I suspect it has ulterior motives against you. Who is stronger, you or the Vajra goat? Ningyu's heart moved as he asked. Of course, it's definitely because I'm stronger, the old man said proudly. All right, if the adamantine goat goes back on its word and plots against me, teach it a lesson for me. Ningyu was waiting for the old man to say this. As soon as the old man finished speaking, he said, No, my target is the adamantine ape. I can't deal with the adamantine goat for you, the old man hurriedly refused. What a joke. If I expend too much energy now, how can I compete when I enter the magic treasure cave? It's not up to you to decide later. Ningyu snorted in his heart. Retreat in the face of danger and come out when there are benefits. How can there be such a good thing? Ningyu had already decided to use the Heaven and Earth Sword array. If he encountered danger, he would definitely force the old man out. Ningyu, you're too arrogant. Joding the Venerable said in a low voice, Venerable Mingyang, go deal with the adamantine goat. Leave Ningyu to me. Following that, the Nine Cauldron Venerable One flashed and charged at Ningyu at a shocking speed. Damn it! Seeing Joding the Venerable picking on the weak persimmon, Venerable Mingyang and the others cursed in their hearts. However, the current situation did not allow Venerable Mingyang and the others to have other thoughts. Chapter 985. Battle Royal Whoosh. Without a doubt, Earthshaker would first go up against Joding the Venerable. Joding the Venerable was a 6th grade supreme martial artist. On Ningyu's side, only Earthshaker could contend with Joding the Venerable. As for Ningyu and the 8-legged centipede, they were not strong enough to fight against Joding the Venerable. At the very least, on the surface, he was no match for Joding the Venerable. He was no match for Joding the Venerable. Go. We will grind Ningyu's bones to dust. Yes, yes. Hurry up and kill Ningyu. Avenge He Wen, Bao Chang, and Zhongjun Ningyu doesn't know what's good for him. He deserves to die. Everyone, let's attack together. I don't believe we can't kill him. Seeing Joding the Venerable and the Earthshaker fight, the remaining powerhouses of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion roared and rushed towards Ningyu. Ningyu was only a half-step supreme being. How powerful could he be? In the eyes of the remaining cultivators of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, Ningyu's strength was at most that of a 4th-grade human sovereign. As long as they worked together, killing Ningyu would be a piece of cake. Humph. If you want to kill Ningyu, have you asked for my permission? The 8-legged centipede took a step forward and coldly snorted, I can even kill a pinnacle 4th-grade human sovereign, Bao Chang, let alone small fries like you. Whoosh. After being berated by the 8-legged centipede, the 9-furnace Divine Pavilion martial artists all stopped. Bao Chang's tragic death was still vivid in their minds. Trash, all of you are trash. All martial artists above grade 3 human supreme, deal with the 8-legged centipede. Martial artists below grade 3 human supreme, deal with Ningyu. While Joding the Venerable was fighting with the Earthshaker, he did not forget to remind him. Huala. The Nine Cauldron Venerable One's words were very effective. After Bao Chang and the others were killed, the 9-furnace divine pavilion still had 15 martial artists remaining. Among them, there were 7 3rd-grade human supremes, 7 2nd-grade human supremes, and 1 4th-grade human supremes. Currently, 7 grade 3 human supremes and 1 grade 4 human supremes were charging towards the 8-legged centipede, engaging it in a fierce battle. The remaining 7 2nd-grade supreme martial artists rushed towards Ning Yu. "I'll let you know how powerful I am." The corners of Ning Yu's mouth curled slightly as he watched the martial practitioners approaching him. Soon after, the red demon sword appeared, and a couple of sword glows slashed out in the air. These sword lights were so powerful that even the void began to tremble. Puff! One of the 2nd-grade supreme martial artists was caught off guard and was hit by the sword light. The sword light that Ning Yu slashed out could be said to be extremely powerful. Not to mention a 2nd-grade supreme martial artist, even an ordinary 3rd-grade supreme martial artist would not dare to say that they could block it. Gulp. Seeing that Ning Yu had killed a 2nd-grade supreme martial artist with a single slash, the martial practitioners of the 9-furnace divine pavilion all stopped in their tracks, not daring to move forward. Wasn't Ning Yu a little too powerful? That was a 2nd-grade supreme martial artist, and he was actually killed by him with a single slash. Everyone, don't be afraid. No matter how powerful he is, he's only a half-step supreme martial artist. I don't believe that he can overturn the heavens. After a while, another 2nd-grade supreme martial artist from the 9-furnace divine pavilion let out a low roar and instantly charged out. This 2nd-grade supreme martial artist was very smart. He did not fight Ning Yu head-on, but took out a king-grade middle-grade flying sword and blasted out a shocking sword light in the air. Soaring Heaven's Sword Art. Soaring Heaven's Sword Art, a king-grade upper-grade martial skill. When executed to the extreme, its power is comparable to a king-grade top-grade martial skill. Zhao Hu's cultivation is at the peak of 2nd-grade supreme martial artist. Coupled with the Soaring Heaven's Sword Art, he has an 80% chance of killing Ning Yu. Of course. It seems that we don't even need to do anything. Ning Yu will be... what? However, before the last martial practitioner could finish his sentence, his mouth was slightly agape, and his face was filled with fear. He saw Ning Yu holding the red demon sword in his hand. He took a step forward and arrived before Zhao Hu. The red demon sword waved repeatedly, dispersing the Soaring Heaven's Sword Art that Zhao Hu had slashed out. Then, Ning Yu stabbed out with the red demon sword in a straight line. Puff! The sound of a flying sword stabbing into flesh rang out. The martial practitioners of the 9-furnace divine pavilion were all dumbfounded. If the previous 2nd-grade supreme martial artist was killed because of carelessness, then the fact that Zhao Hu was killed even after using the Soaring Heaven's Sword Art was enough to show how terrifying Ning Yu was. In just a few seconds, 2 2nd-grade human supremacies were killed. The remaining 5 2nd-grade supreme martial artists even began to retreat, not daring to advance. A bunch of trash. The 9-furnace divine pavilion's 4th-grade supreme martial artist, Zhong Qiong, led 7 3rd-grade supreme martial artists to attack the 8-legged centipede, and they even had the upper hand. When he saw that 2 2nd-grade supreme martial artists had died, he immediately cursed. "You guys hold them off first. I'll be right back." With a low grunt, Zhong Qiong's figure flashed and he flew towards Ning Yu. Zhong Qiong was a 4th-grade supreme martial artist, so he was very confident. In his opinion, Ning Yu had been overdrawing his life force. When Ning Yu killed He Wen just now, he must have used up all his trump cards. The current Ning Yu was strong on the outside, but empty on the inside, not worth mentioning. "Ning Yu, I'll help you." Seeing Zhong Qiong rush towards Ning Yu, the 8-legged centipede hurriedly said, "There's no need. A mere 4th-grade supreme martial artist can't stop me." Ning Yu waved his hand, indicating that the 8-legged centipede didn't need to help. He could even kill He Wen, so why would he be afraid of Zhong Qiong? One had to know that Zhong Qiong's strength was more than a level lower than He Wen's. "Arrogant!" Zhong Qiong roared, and his fist brought with it an extremely violent Yuan Qi gale, ruthlessly smashing towards Ning Yu. Zhong Qiong used 100% of his strength in this move. All for the sake of killing Ning Yu in one move. 3 lives palm. Although Ning Yu was very confident in killing Zhong Qiong, he still chose to go all out against Zhong Qiong's fist. Hit the snake where it hurts, don't hold back. This sentence had always been Ning Yu's code of conduct. As long as he was determined to kill someone, he couldn't hold back. He had to go all out and thoroughly kill that person. Ha ha ha, how can a soft palm print block my fist light? Zhong Qiong laughed when he felt the yuan qi ripple on Ning Yu's palm. Is that so? The corner of Ning Yu's lips curled up, and the yuan qi in his sea of consciousness frantically poured into his palm. Kai Kai. Ning Yu was already at the half-step supremacy realm, so he had a lot of yuan qi in his sea of consciousness. When the yuan qi poured into his palm, it immediately caused a Kai Kai sound. Zhong Qiong, take this, 3 lives palm. As Ning Yu spoke, a huge palm print peeled off from Ning Yu's palm. Swish, swish, swish. In mid-air, the palm print split into 3 and shot towards Zhong Qiong from 3 different directions. What? Feeling the majestic yuan qi ripple on the 3 palm prints, Zhong Qiong's expression finally changed. This was not a move that a half-step supremacy realm martial artist could execute. Even as a grade 4 human supremacy realm martial artist, he couldn't execute this move. Let's do it. However, the current situation was like an arrow on a bowstring, and Zhong Qiong had no choice but to release it. Chapter 986. Boom. Swish. In mid-air, when the 3 palm prints were about to reach Zhong Qiong, they suddenly combined into one and turned into 1 palm print. Kai. The 3 lives palm was already very powerful when it was just 3 palm prints. Now that the 3 had combined, its power had increased by several times. The powerful pressure brought by the blood-red palm print made the surrounding 9 cauldrons divine pavilion martial artists pale. What kind of palm print is that? Why do I feel that it's so powerful? I'm not sure, but Ning Yu is only at the half-step supremacy realm. How can he be so powerful? What's the use of being powerful? Zhong Qiong is a grade 4 supreme being. He's extremely powerful. Ning Yu is like a mantis trying to. At the end of his sentence, the last martial artist stuttered. Because as he spoke, Zhong Qiong's fist had already collided with the 3 lives palm. Catcher. A crisp sound rang out in the hall. Ah. What followed was a blood-curdling scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. What? Zhong Qiong lost. This is impossible. Zhong Qiong is a grade 4 supreme being. He's so powerful. How could he be defeated? Absolutely impossible. Ning, you must have used some kind of demonic technique. The 9 cauldrons divine pavilion martial artists exclaimed when they saw Zhong Qiong's miserable state. They didn't dare to believe it. They didn't want to believe it. If even a grade 4 supreme being like Zhong Qiong was defeated, how could they, the grade 2 and grade 3 supreme beings, survive? Therefore, the 9 cauldrons divine pavilion martial artists wanted to live in a dream. Cough, cough. In the distance, Zhong Qiong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He coughed twice and said in a deep voice, Ning Yu, I admit that you're strong. But aren't you a little too arrogant to think that you can kill me like this? Arrogant? I'm never arrogant because you'll be killed soon. Ning Yu shrugged and said, ha ha ha, I'll stand right here. Let's see how you're going to, puff. Hearing Ning Yu's words, Zhong Qiong roared with laughter. However, before Zhong Qiong could finish laughing, he stopped abruptly and spat out a mouthful of blood. Young people shouldn't be too arrogant. Sometimes, it's not a bad thing to listen to the opinions of others. The 8-legged centipede suddenly appeared beside Zhong Qiong and struck his heart. Zhong Qiong was already heavily injured, and now that he was ambushed by the 8-legged centipede, his aura immediately dropped to the freezing point. He was on the verge of death. Go, all of you go. Kill them and chop them into minced meat. Zhong Qiong's face was extremely gloomy as he roared with all his strength. Let's see who dares to come over. Ning Yu took a step forward, holding the red demon sword horizontally in front of his chest as he spoke coldly. Huala. The 9 cauldron divine pavilions grade 2 and grade 3 human supremes wanted to attack at first. However, when they saw Ning Yu standing in front of Zhong Qiong like a god of war, they immediately stopped. Ningyu's strength had left an indelible impression in their hearts. On top of that, there was also the Grade 4 human supreme 8-legged centipede eyeing them like a tiger watching its prey. If they went up to fight Ningyu now, they would be courting death. Damn it, do you guys want to die? Seeing the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's warriors stop moving, Zhongqiong cursed, hurry up and kill Ningyu and the 8-legged centipede. They're both arrows at the end of their flight and are in a weakened state. If you give them time to recuperate and recover to their peak condition, all of you will die. Zhongqiong's words had a great effect. After thinking for 3 seconds, the remaining 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion experts charged at Ningyu and the 8-legged centipede. Among them, the Grade 3 Human Supremes faced the 8-legged centipede, while the Grade 2 Human Supremes faced Ningyu. All kinds of spells flew out, covering the entire void. 8-legged centipede, let's see who gets rid of them first. Ningyu looked at the 8-legged centipede, then rose from the ground and charged into the crowd of Grade 2 Human Supremes with the red demon sword in his hand. The moment an expert made a move, it was clear whether he was strong or not. Even if 5 Grade 2 Human Supremes joined forces, they were not Ningyu's match. Ningyu charged left and right in the midst of the 5 Grade 2 Human Supremes, and with every sword strike, a Grade 2 Human Supreme would be injured. Compared to Ningyu, the 8-legged centipede was a little pressured. After all, the 8-legged centipede had just experienced a huge battle with Bao Chang and had consumed too much of its energy. Now, facing the siege of 7 Grade 3 Human Supremes, it could only barely resist. It did not have the absolute suppressive power that Ningyu had. Earthshaker, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me, and not only will I not kill you, but I'll also provide you with a large amount of resources so that you can cultivate to Grade 7 Human Supreme as soon as possible. While Ningyu was still entangled with the Grade 2 Sovereign of the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion, the 9 Cauldron Venerable, who was in midair, forced the earth-shaking Divine Ox back with a single move. After a period of battle, Joding the Venerable already knew how powerful Earthshaker was. Unless he used his ultimate trump card, there was no way he could kill Earthshaker. Since only the Vajra goat had come out of the magic treasure cave, Joding the Venerable would not foolishly use his trump card. You want me to submit to you? Earthshaker raised his eyebrows and said, have you lost your mind? Since Ningyu had the absolute upper hand, Earthshaker did not have to worry at all. Therefore, he was not in a hurry and could slowly entangle with Joding the Venerable. I'm not crazy. Joding the Venerable explained, in the entire hall, you and I are the strongest. As long as we work together, we can definitely kill everyone else. When the time comes, we'll split the Supreme Immortal Elixir and Middle Grade Royal Artifact. You get the Supreme Immortal Elixir and I get the Middle Grade Royal Artifact. That good? Why don't you give me some benefits first? Earthshaker's face revealed a fiery expression. What benefits do you want? Joding the Venerable frowned. It's simple. 1,000 Royal Grade Origin Crystals, Earthshaker said. Alright, I'll give you 1,000 Royal Grade Origin Crystals. Joding the Venerable did not even think. He took out a storage bag and threw it to Earthshaker. That good? Looking at the storage pouches flying towards him, Earthshaker Godly Ox was a little stunned. There was no reason for Joding the Venerable to give him 1,000 Royal Grade Origin Crystals. There was definitely something fishy going on. Oh no. At this thought, Earthshaker's expression changed drastically and he hurriedly retreated. Ha ha ha, Earthshaker, isn't it a little too late to retreat now? Joding the Venerable laughed maniacally when he saw Earthshaker's flustered expression. Rumble. In the next moment, the storage bag suddenly exploded. The huge shockwave seemed to have eyes of its own as it blasted towards Earthshaker. Damn it. Earthshaker was not weak. After all, he was a 6th grade human supreme. Moreover, after consuming the Qian Yuan elixir, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. After cursing in his heart, Earthshaker released the energy in his body and formed an energy shield in front of him. Chapter 987. Agreement Humph. You actually want to take it head on? You're simply courting death. Joding the Venerable snorted coldly when he saw that the Earthshaker was not running away but was trying to withstand the shockwaves from the explosion of the storage pouch. A long time ago, I used the items in my storage pouch to kill a 6th grade human supreme martial artist by surprise. Even though you're a demonic beast, there's nothing you can do. Joding the Venerable could already picture the scene of Earthshaker being killed. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and looked at Earthshaker with interest. While he was looking at the Earthshaker, he also shifted his gaze to Ningyu. F***CK. The 9 Cauldron Venerable One's face darkened when he took a look. While he was distracted, Zhongqiong, a 4th grade human supreme, had already been killed. Furthermore, there were only 2 or 3 2nd and 3rd grade human sovereigns left. Trash, all of you are trash. Joding the Venerable gnashed his teeth in anger. He made up his mind to capture Ningyu as soon as he killed the Earthshaker. Joding the Venerable would not kill Ningyu. He wanted to torture Ningyu slowly and make Ningyu die in agony. Joding the Venerable, you dare to be distracted while fighting me? Aren't you a little too arrogant? At this moment, Earthshaker's voice rang in Joding the Venerable's ears. Upon hearing the voice, the 9 Cauldron Venerable One was slightly stunned, and he quickly turned around. Damn it! As soon as Joding the Venerable turned around, he saw Earthshaker unleashing a powerful attack on him. Cursing inwardly, Joding the Venerable quickly dodged. However, it was too late for Joding the Venerable to dodge at that moment. Bang! The Earthshaker used the horn on its head to fiercely hit Joding the Venerable, pushing Joding the Venerable far away. The 9 Cauldron Venerable One only stopped when it hit the wall of the core hall. Poochie! He spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Joding the Venerable's aura, which was at its peak, instantly dropped by 10%. Earthshaker, good job. Joding the Venerable wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth and said fiercely. Joding the Venerable felt a little scared. If he had not reacted in time, this attack from Earthshaker would have been enough to kill him. Even so, Joding the Venerable's strength had decreased by 10%. Joding the Venerable was no match for Earthshaker when he was at his peak, let alone Earthshaker who had lost 10% of his power. I have to think of a way to get Shintian and the rest to come and help. Joding the Venerable's eyes darted around, trying to come up with a countermeasure. At the same time, Joding the Venerable also split a bit of his perception to look at Shintian. In the distance, Shintian, Venerable Corpse Crane, and Venerable Mingyang were working together to deal with the Vajra goat. The Vajra goat was very powerful. It was not at a disadvantage even when fighting against 3 6th grade human supremes. On the contrary, the Vajra goat was still suppressing Venerable Mingyang and the rest. They're all sly old foxes. They don't want to use their trump cards. Joding the Venerable cursed in his heart. In the current situation, no one wanted to be the first to use their trump cards. Because whoever used their trump cards first would be at a disadvantage when fighting for the sovereign immortal pills and middle-grade royal treasures. Poochie, Poochie, Poochie. Suddenly, 3 figures landed at Joding the Venerable's feet. Their eyes rolled back, and they died on the spot. Joding the Venerable, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me and make a heavenly oath. Ningyu's voice rang in Joding the Venerable's ears. Otherwise, I'll let you know why the flowers are red. Ningyu, who do you think you are? How dare you say such words to me? Joding the Venerable said coldly, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me, or I'll let you die a horrible death. Haha, Earthshaker, don't hold back. Try your best to kill Joding the Venerable. Ningyu said with a faint smile. I've wanted to kill him for a long time. Earthshaking Bull responded to him. Then it rose and charged at the 9 Cauldron Venerable One again. Hold on. Joding the Venerable was not an idiot. He knew that he could not fight with Earthshaker now. He could only delay Ningyu and then think of a way to escape. Ningyu, I have 5,000 royal grade origin crystals here. I'll give them all to you. Joding the Venerable took out a storage bag from his chest and said in a clear voice, You get the royal grade origin crystals. From now on, we'll mind our own business. That's impossible. You're an arrow at the end of its flight. If I want to kill you, it'll be as easy as taking something out of my pocket. Why should we mind our own business? Ningyu shrugged and said, "Besides, I don't trust you. Me. I am the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's master. If you don't trust me, then no one can trust you." Joding the Venerable coldly snorted and said, 5,000 royal grade origin crystals in exchange for us minding our own business. Otherwise, we'll all die together. Actually, if you want me to stop, it's not impossible. As long as you give me the low-grade royal grade flying sword and 5,000 royal grade origin crystals, I'll agree to your request. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, "Ka." Joding the Venerable was so angry that his face turned ashen. A man who was never content was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. 5,000 royal grade origin crystals was enough to make Joding the Venerable's heart ache, not to mention the addition of a low-grade royal grade flying sword. But the current situation did not allow Joding the Venerable to think too much. 3 seconds. Joding the Venerable thought for 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, Joding the Venerable gritted his teeth and said, "I agree to your request. But you have to swear to the heavens that you cannot attack me in the Beast King's palace. That's simple." Ningyu swore an oath to the heavens on the spot. "Here." Hearing Ningyu swear an oath to the heavens, Joding the Venerable flicked his wrist and threw the storage bag and low-grade royal grade flying sword to Ningyu. Pa. After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu used a bit of his perception to check the number of origin crystals inside. Then, he nodded and said, "There are indeed 5,000 royal grade origin crystals. It seems that you're quite rich. I plan on personally making a trip to the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's headquarters after leaving the Beast King's palace. You're welcome anytime," Joding the Venerable coldly said. However, Joding the Venerable still had a sentence in his heart that he didn't say. Whether or not you can leave the Beast King's palace alive is still unknown. You actually want to go to the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion's headquarters? That's simply wishful thinking. Although Joding the Venerable had promised not to attack Lin Ming in the Beast King's palace, others could. Whether it was the Venerable Mingyang or Shantian, as long as they were given enough benefits, they would be more than happy to kill Ningyu. After all, Ningyu was currently standing on the opposite side of all of them. He was incomparably savage. Earthshaker, 8-legged centipede, take these royal grade origin crystals and divide them among yourselves. Take advantage of this time to cultivate. Ningyu casually tossed the storage bag to Earthshaker. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Joding the Venerable's lips twitched. That was 5,000 royal grade origin crystals, and he gave it to 2 monster beasts just like that. This was far too extravagant. Joding the Venerable, hurry up and help me. Chapter 988. Exposed Venerable Mingyang. The Nine Cauldron Venerable's face took on a ghastly expression when he heard the shout. Joding the Venerable's plan was to act weak and let Venerable Mingyang and the rest deal with the King Kong goat. Now that Venerable Mingyang was calling for help, it would be rude if he did not help. "I want to help, but Ningyu and Earthshaker are too strong. I can't get away at all." Struck with a thought, the Nine Cauldron Venerable One quickly asked, "Damn it. Switch with Shantian. Let Shantian deal with Ningyu while you deal with the King Kong goat with us." Venerable Mingyang cursed under his breath as he thought of a plan. Swoosh. As Supremacy Mingyang's voice fell, Supremacy Shantian's body flickered as he charged towards Ningyu. Fighting the King Kong goat was too stressful. Now that there was such a good chance to get away, Shantian would definitely not let it go. Sly old fox. Joding the Venerable's face darkened when he saw Shantian flying in his direction. Since Shantian was here, Joding the Venerable had no other choice but to fight the King Kong goat with Venerable Mingyang and the rest. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, die. Shantian thought Ningyu was a pushover, so he was excited. Picking on the pushover? Everyone had the same thought. Moreover, when Shantian was fighting the King Kong goat, he was under a lot of pressure and was highly focused. If he was not careful, he would turn into ashes. Now that he was fighting Ningyu, he could finally relax. "Shantian, are you sure you want to fight me?" Ningyu slowly opened his eyes and said indifferently, "Nonsense. You're just a half-step supreme martial artist. How powerful can you be?" Shantian said coldly, "I'm not strong, But you might have forgotten that Earthshaker is much stronger than you. Ningyu shrugged. Raw. As Ningyu spoke, Earthshaker swallowed a few pieces of royal-grade origin crystals and stood in front of Ningyu. Humph. I don't believe that you still have such powerful combat power. Shintian snorted coldly and immediately engaged in battle with the Earthshaker. If you can't kill him within 10 minutes, it's best not to use your full strength. Ningyu sent a mental message to Earthshaker. Ningyu was no fool. The current situation was clear. Whichever side's 6th grade supreme martial artist lost his combat power would become an idiot. If Earthshaker could kill Shintian within 10 minutes, he would definitely use his full strength. If he couldn't kill Shintian within 10 minutes, it was better to hold back. Rumble. In mid-air, the battle between Shintian and Earthshaker was very loud. Those who didn't know the inside story would think that they were fighting to the death. But Ningyu knew it very well. Both Earth-shaking Godly Bull and Heaven God Venerable did not use their full strength. Earth-shaking Godly Bull used 30% of his strength, while Sky God Supremacy only used 40% of his strength. Everyone was well aware that no one wanted to waste too much of their strength. All martial artists of the Blood God Palace, listen up. Go kill Ningyu. Shintian thought that Earthshaker didn't use his full strength because it was his own idea, so he ordered the rest of the martial artists while fighting. I'll reward anyone who can take Ningyu's head with 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. Whoosh. Shintian's words set off a storm in the hearts of the martial artists of the Blood God Palace. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. Even the 2nd grade and 3rd grade supreme martial artists of the Blood God Palace only had 500 royal grade origin crystals. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals was enough for them to take the risk to kill Ningyu. Moreover, compared to the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, the Blood God Palace had 2 4th grade supreme martial artists. 2 4th grade supreme martial artists would deal with the 8-legged centipede, while the remaining 2nd grade and 3rd grade supreme martial artists would surround and kill Ningyu. The plan was perfect. Let's go. Let's attack together. That's right. No matter how strong Ningyu is, how strong can he be? The most important thing now is to prevent Ningyu from recovering. Kill him while he's down. The martial artists of the Blood God Palace shouted as they charged at Ningyu. Whoosh, whoosh. The 2 4th grade supreme martial artists faced the 8-legged centipede while the rest charged at Ningyu. Aunt Yoon, will Ningyu be alright? The battle had been going on for a long time. The 2 people in the hall who were the most unharmed were Yunmu and the Talisman Supremacy. Their life-saving methods were simply too powerful, so powerful that no one dared to have any thoughts of killing them. After all, before killing them, they had to consider if they could withstand a full-force attack from a 9th grade supreme martial artist. It's hard to say. He's been through a series of battles. Even an Iron Man can't handle it. The Talisman Supremacy frowned slightly. Ningyu is the key to us getting the Sovereign Immortal Pill. Should we help him? Yunmu hesitated. Help? How? Should we use our trump card now? The Talisman Supremacy said, you just need to take care of yourself. Leave the rest to me. You don't have to worry about it. All right. A disappointed expression appeared on Yunmu's face. However, the disappointment disappeared in a flash and she quickly returned to normal. Those who wanted to achieve great things should not be bothered by trifles. According to Yunmu's speculation, as long as she could get the Sovereign Immortal Pill and complete that task, she would have the opportunity to increase her cultivation to a very high level. What a lingering spirit. Ningyu's face turned ugly as he looked at the approaching experts from the Blood God Palace. Earthshaker, go all out. Even if you can't kill Shintian, you have to teach him a lesson. We both know this, but you're playing this game with me. Since that's the case, don't think about having an easy time. 8-legged centipede, can you deal with 2 4th grade human supremacies? Ningyu not only fought with Earthshaker but also asked the 8-legged centipede. Ningyu was very confident in his strength. The Blood God Palace's 2nd grade and 3rd grade human supremacies would not be able to hurt him. If the 8-legged centipede could handle it, he wouldn't have to worry. No problem. Leave it to me. They're much weaker than Zhongqiong. Neither of them is a match for me, the eight-legged centipede promised. All right. Ningyu's eyes turned cold as he slashed with the red devil sword. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In a split second, several sword waves appeared and blasted towards the experts from the Blood God Palace. What? Supreme 9 Purities sword skill. Ningyu is the one we're looking for? That's the bastard. Otherwise, no one in the Great Xia Kingdom can cultivate the Supreme 9 Purities sword skill. We can wear out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it by chance. Friends from the Blood God Palace, we're here to help you. Yes, we're here to help you. As expected, after Ningyu performed the Supreme 9 Purities sword skill, the experts from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple all joined in the siege. Chapter 989. Chapter 989, Encirclement attacking together. In fact, Ningyu already knew that he would be discovered before he used solitaire. The only thing that surprised Ningyu was that the people from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple attacked him together. Ningyu might not feel any pressure when facing the experts from the Blood God Palace alone. But now, even the people from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple attacked him together, which more or less put some pressure on him. After all, there were more than 32nd and 3rd grade human supreme cultivators. Being besieged by so many experts, not to mention that Ningyu was only a half-step supreme cultivator, even if Ningyu was a 1st grade human supreme cultivator now, it would still be a bit difficult. Heaven and Earth Sword Array. Fortunately, Ningyu had the Heaven and Earth Sword Array. Facing so many experts, Ningyu's solitaire and 3 lives palm were no longer of much use. Only by using the Heaven and Earth Sword Array could he have a chance of survival. Swish, 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 swish. Ningyu shouted in a low voice. 7 flying swords flew out from his body. The 7 king-grade medium flying swords hovered above Ningyu's head, but they didn't attack immediately. Whoosh. Seeing the 7 king-grade medium flying swords hovering above Ningyu's head, the people from the Blood God Palace and the Supreme 9 Purities Temple all stopped and looked shocked. They were all supreme cultivators, so they naturally knew the horror of the sword array. Swish. Maybe the Heaven and Earth Sword Array had attracted the warriors of the Corpse Yin sect. After Ningyu used the Heaven and Earth Sword Array, the 2nd grade and 3rd grade human supreme cultivators of the Corpse Yin sect also joined in the attack on Ningyu. The lineup of the Corpse Yin sect was a bit strong this time. 2 4th grade human supreme cultivators and 1 5th grade human supreme cultivator. Without a doubt, the 4th grade human sovereign and the 5th grade human sovereign charged towards the 8-legged centipede and fought it together with the 2 4th grade human sovereigns from the Blood God Palace. Originally, the 8-legged centipede didn't feel that much pressure, but now that 3 powerhouses had joined the battle, he immediately felt the pressure multiply. The 8-legged centipede can only last for 5 minutes at most. Since the 3 forces were still observing from the sidelines, Ningyu was able to split some of his perception to pay attention to the 8-legged centipede. The 8-legged centipede could only last for 5 minutes at most. He might not even be able to hold on for 5 minutes. Ningyu, how about we make a deal? Perhaps it was because he saw Ningyu's predicament, the old man's words suddenly rang in Ningyu's mind. Give me that low-grade monarch rank flying sword you just obtained. I'll help you deal with these small fries. Is that true? Ningyu frowned and asked. Hehe, how could the words of I, the sword of evil, be false? The old man smiled faintly. Ningyu's eyes darted around as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. In his current situation, he might only have a chance of survival if Venerable Sword Evil intervened. If the Sword of Evil only wanted the monarch rank flying sword, he could give it to him. However, Ningyu was afraid that the Sword of Evil would play some tricks. Fut. Just when Ningyu was deep in thought, the 8-legged centipede was hit by a 4th grade human sovereign and was sent flying several meters away, spurting out a mouthful of blood. Fine, I'll give you the monarch rank flying sword. Seeing the 8-legged centipede's miserable state, Ningyu let out a low growl and directly threw the monarch rank flying sword towards the 8-legged centipede. Good plan. The corner of the Sword of Evil's mouth curled up. He then rushed out from one of the king rank middle grade flying swords and rushed towards the monarch rank flying sword at an extremely fast speed. Kill him. The Sword of Evil quickly grasped the low-grade monarch tier flying sword in his hand and slashed out a huge sword beam in the air. The sword ray was as thick as a person's waist, and its power was several times that of Ningyu's solitaire. Puff. The speed of the sword ray was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived before a 4th grade human supreme who was attacking the 8-legged centipede. The 4th grade sovereign was wondering if he could kill the 8-legged centipede with a single move and gain some benefits from it. However, he did not expect that he would be the first to be struck by the sword ray. Again, Venerable Sword Evil slashed out another 3 sword rays after his first attack. Every single sword gleam had a target. The 3 sword lights were aimed at 3 4th grade mortal supremes. Although the remaining 3 4th grade human supremes were prepared and put up a defense, they were still unable to withstand the attack. However, their bodies were still cut by the sword rays. He's actually so strong. Seeing the Sword of Evil defeat 4 4th grade human supremes in a few moves, Ningyu could not help but be shocked. In the core hall, Ningyu had to face many formidable opponents. Venerable Mingyang, Joding the Venerable, Shantian, Venerable Corpse Crane, King Konggoat, and Venerable Talisman Marshal. Now, there was the Sword of Evil. With so many experts suppressing Ningyu, Ningyu felt a little breathless. Heaven and Earth Sword Formation, go. Ningyu shook his head, trying hard not to think too much. There would always be a way out. Anyway, with the Sword of Evil blocking for the time being, there was no need to worry about the 8-legged centipede's safety. With a low roar, Ningyu displayed the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation and controlled the 7 mid-grade king-tier flying swords to charge into the crowd. Puff, puff, puff. Since Ningyu attacked quickly, the first round of attacks from the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation only injured 2 2nd-grade human supremes and 1 3rd-grade human supremes. Everyone, let's attack together. Don't think too much. Capture Ningyu and force that expert to stop. With no 4th-grade human supremes present, a peak 3rd-grade human supremes from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple became the leader. He said coldly, Ningyu is only powerful because of his sword formation. As long as we control the sword formation, he will be a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. He will be at our mercy. All 2nd-grade human supremes, find a way to control the sword formation. 3rd-grade human supremes, follow me to capture Ningyu. Rumble. The 3rd-grade human supremes was called Lin Yuan. As soon as he finished speaking, he was the first to launch a powerful attack. Seeing Lin Yuan's attack, the remaining 3rd-grade human supremes did not dare to be negligent and attacked Ningyu one after another. As for the other 2nd-grade human supremes, they wisely went to control the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. Fut, fut, fut. However, dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. A 2nd-grade human supremes wanted to control the sword formation. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were daydreaming. In an instant, another 3 2nd-grade human supremes were defeated and fell to the ground, on the verge of death. If they had gone all out to control the sword formation or attacked Ningyu, they might have succeeded. But now, they were destined to embark on a path of no return. Reality proved how important a good leader was to a team. Red Devil, follow me to battle. Ningyu's eyes shone with a frightening light. With the Red Devil sword in hand, he fought with Lin Yuan on the spot. Ding! The Red Demon sword collided with the high-grade king rank flying sword in Lin Yuan's hand, and a crisp sound rang out. The intense pain from the webbing between his thumb and forefinger sent Lin Yuan flying several feet away. His face was filled with horror. I'm no match for this kid. Almost in an instant, Lin Yuan determined that he was no match for Ningyu. If he forcefully made a move, he would only be killed. I've already injured Ningyu. Next, you guys deal with him. I'll help control the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. Chapter 990. You want to leave? It won't be that easy. You want to leave? Not so easy. Seeing that Lin Yuan was about to leave, Ningyu's lips curled into a smile and he charged out with the Red Demon sword in his hand. Oh no! Lin Yuan already knew how terrifying Ningyu was through that move just now. Moreover, the area between his thumb and forefinger was extremely sore, so it was unwise to fight with Ningyu head-on. Go! Stop Ningyu! Lin Yuan shouted and hurriedly ordered the remaining third-grade human supremes to surround Ningyu. Ningyu has already been injured by me. He's at the end of his rope now, and his strength isn't even 1/10 of his peak. In order to make these third-grade human supremes fearless, Lin Yuan even started to use deceptive means. Whoosh! As expected, Lin Yuan's deceptive means worked. The third-grade human supremes from the Blood God Palace, the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, and the Corpse Sect all roared and charged at Ningyu. They all wanted to be the first martial artist to kill Ningyu. What a good plan, but it's a pity. Ningyu's speed was very fast, and he arrived in front of Lin Yuan in the blink of an eye, blocking Lin Yuan's path. Holding the red demon sword in front of his chest, Ningyu said indifferently, in the face of absolute strength, all schemes are useless. Ha ha ha. Ningyu, you want to kill me? You're a bit too infatuated. Ha ha. However, before Lin Yuan could finish laughing, he spat out a mouthful of dark red blood. You. Lin Yuan looked down at the red flying sword at his heart, and pointed at Ningyu with his right hand. He wanted to say something, but his body fell backward the moment he said it. Bang! Lin Yuan's body fell heavily on the ground, and his face was extremely pale. At this moment, Lin Yuan, a peak third-grade human supremes, died on the spot. Boom! Lin Yuan's death caused a great commotion in the surroundings. After all, Lin Yuan's cultivation was at the peak of Grade 3 human supreme realm. Even he was killed by Ningyu with a single move. How could the others possibly be a match for Ningyu? Puff puff puff. At this moment, the Heaven and Earth Sword Array unleashed its power. 7 King-grade mid-grade flying swords pierced through the hearts of 7 second-grade sovereign realm human cultivators. The sound of blood spurting out could be heard. 7 second-grade supreme martial artists followed in Lin Yuan's footsteps. Come here. Ningyu didn't follow up with another attack. Instead, with a flick of his wrist, he controlled the 7 mid-grade king-rank flying swords to return to his side, and then they floated above his head. Not only did Ningyu need to consume his primordial qi, but the Heaven-Earth Sword Array also needed to consume a huge amount of primordial qi. Although the Heaven and Earth Sword Array had killed 7 second-grade supremes in a short period of time, it had also consumed a lot of the elemental energy within. Ningyu took advantage of this opportunity to replenish the Heaven and Earth Sword formation, ensuring that the Heaven and Earth Sword formation remained at its peak. Crack! Taking out a few royal-grade origin crystals from his storage pouch, Ningyu didn't care about the strange gazes of the crowd. He sat down cross-legged and started refining them. After advancing to the half-step supremacy realm, Ningyu's speed of refining the origin crystals had increased significantly. In just a few dozen seconds, he had already refined a few royal-grade origin crystals. Seeing how fast Ningyu was refining the royal-grade origin crystals, the surrounding cultivators were shocked. Gulp! Some of the cultivators even gulped down a mouthful of saliva. What kind of monster is Ningyu? Those are royal-grade origin crystals. How can he refine them so fast? Terrifying. This is too terrifying. Even a 6th-grade supreme martial artist can't refine the origin crystals as fast as Ningyu, right? No, Shantian is also a 6th-grade supreme martial artist. In such a short period of time, he can only refine 2 royal-grade origin crystals at most. While Ningyu was refining the origin crystals, none of the cultivators dared to make a move. They all understood the principle of shooting the bird that pokes its head out. Lin Yuan was the one who poked his head out. He wanted to kill Ningyu to prove himself, but he failed miserably and was killed by Ningyu in a single move. No one wanted to experience such a miserable experience a second time. Although no one came to disturb him, Ningyu still didn't dare to relax. Phew. Roughly 3 minutes later, Ningyu slowly let out a breath of turbid air and stood up from the ground. There are a total of 23rd grade Supreme Martial Artists and 32nd grade Supreme Martial Artists. Ningyu's gaze slowly swept across the cultivators in front of him. He murmured, "With my current strength, I can instantly kill a 2nd grade or 3rd grade Supreme Martial Artist." Facing so many second-grade and third-grade supreme martial artists, it's extremely strenuous for me. Ningyu knew his own strength very well, so he wasn't arrogant. If he forcefully made a move now, it was likely that he would fail miserably like Lin Yuan. I have to think of a way to defeat them one by one. Ningyu's eyes darted around as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. After a while, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, Lin Yuan sneak attacked me first. I'm now a mortal enemy of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. I hope the people from the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace won't interfere. Whoosh. Hearing Ningyu's words, the cultivators from the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace began to have evil thoughts. If they could let the people from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple fight with Ningyu first, they could also exhaust Ningyu's fighting strength. Once Ningyu showed signs of weakness, it might not be a bad decision for them to make a move. Rustle. As a result, the cultivators from the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace tacitly took a few steps back. Their goal was clear. They wouldn't interfere blindly. They would let Ningyu fight with the cultivators from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple first. When the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman benefits. Everyone knew this principle. Blood God Palace, Corpse Sect, do you want to get rid of the donkey when it's no longer useful? Seeing the cultivators from the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect retreat, a third-grade supreme martial artist from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple coldly snorted. This third-grade supreme martial artist was called He Ming. Among the cultivators from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he was second only to Lin Yuan. Now that Lin Yuan was dead, he naturally became the leader. He Ming, you can't say that. Ningyu and your Supreme Nine Purities Temple have enmity. It's not good for us to interfere in your matters. That's right. When the conflict between the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and Ningyu is completely resolved, it won't be too late for us to make a move. Burning the bridge after crossing the river. What a good move. He Ming's face was ashen. However, there was nothing he could do now. Since the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect didn't want to deal with Ningyu, he could only bite the bullet. Little bastard, I want to see how strong you are. He Ming said fiercely. All the cultivators from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple attack together. As long as we are confident, we can definitely kill Ningyu. Attack together? Ningyu curled his lips and said, if you can do anything with confidence in this world, then what's the point of cultivating? You can just meditate every day. Arrogant. He Ming snorted coldly, then rose from the ground and was the first to charge towards Ningyu. Swish. 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 Behind He Ming, 5 second-grade supreme martial artists and 6 third-grade supreme martial artists rushed towards Ningyu. Ningyu, do you need help? Chapter 991. Collapse. Hearing the familiar voice, Ningyu was slightly startled at first, then he shifted his gaze to the 8-legged centipede. The Sword of Evil had mainly helped the 8-legged centipede in the past. Since the Sword of Evil was free, it meant that he had already helped the 8-legged centipede to victory. 4 4th-grade supreme martial artists and 1 5th-grade supreme martial artist. Could they have been killed by the Sword of Evil so quickly? Ningyu found it hard to believe. My God, my God. As it turned out, the Sword of Evil was still very powerful. 5 corpses lay at the feet of the 8-legged centipede. There were exactly 4 4th-grade supreme martial artists and 1 5th-grade supreme martial artist. Sword of Evil, it seems that you are very powerful. Why don't you help the Earthshaker and get rid of Shintian? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to trick Venerable Sword Evil into helping him. No way. The Sword of Evil held the low-grade royal flying sword in his hand and floated in the air, showing no signs of making a move. Ningyu, how dare you get distracted while fighting us? I have to say, you are really conceited. The conversation between Ningyu and the Sword of Evil fell into He Ming's ears. He Ming was a 3rd-grade supreme martial artist and was very powerful. He grasped the fleeting opportunity and appeared in front of Ningyu in an instant. His fist carried a violent gust of primordial chi and ruthlessly punched towards Ningyu's heart. Even though He Ming was only a 3rd-grade supreme martial artist, his punch displayed the combat power of a 4th-grade supreme martial artist. In other words, When Ningyu faced He Ming's punch, it was equivalent to facing a 4th-grade supreme martial artist. Triple birth palm. How could Ningyu not notice He Ming's sneak attack? Before He Ming's fist could reach Ningyu, Ningyu poured the essence in his sea of consciousness into his palm and pushed it out. Pa! His palm met his fist. A muffled sound rang out as a figure was sent flying. Bang! Only when his body hit the wall did he manage to stabilize himself. Poochie! It was obvious that this figure had spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura had instantly dropped to the freezing point. Solitaire. Ningyu did not hold back. He stomped his feet on the ground and dashed forward again. This time, Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed out an astonishing sword wave in the blink of an eye. Kai kai. Wherever the sword wave passed, the air parted. No. Looking at the sword wave approaching him, He Ming let out a hysterical roar. However, reality was reality. The sword wave directly passed through He Ming's heart. He Ming, a 3rd-grade human supreme, died on the spot, just like Lin Yuan. I must find a way to obtain the last few forms of the Supreme 9 Purity Sword Art. Ningyu muttered to himself as he held the red demon sword. If not for the first palm strike that heavily injured He Ming, Ningyu's solitaire would not have been able to kill He Ming. The first 6 forms of the Supreme 9 Purity Sword Art could instantly kill a Manifestation Realm martial artist. But against a Supremacy Realm martial artist, it would not be so effective. In fact, the effect could be described as negligible. Not bad, not bad. Ningyu, you are indeed very strong. Seeing that Ningyu had killed He Ming with a single strike, the Sword of Evil put away the low-grade Emperor flying sword in his hand and slowly landed beside Ningyu. If we work together, we might be able to. Don't. I'm a human, and you're just an illusory body. How can I work together with you? Ningyu interrupted the Sword of Evil. Haha, so what if I'm an illusory body? As long as you find me a suitable body, I can complete the transformation in an instant. The Sword of Evil did not get angry. Instead, he turned his head and slowly swept his gaze across the martial artists of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Hiss. Being stared at by the Sword of Evil, the martial artists of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple all revealed a look of fear. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that the Sword of Evil was much stronger than Ningyu. The Sword of Evil was a ruthless person. He could even kill a 4th-grade or 5th-grade human supreme in an instant, let alone these small fries. If you want to find a body, find it yourself. I will not do such a wicked thing. Ningyu shrugged. Ha ha ha, there are so many people here. Let me see which one is suitable. The Sword of Evil laughed wildly and suddenly rushed out. Puff, puff, puff. The first area that the Sword of Evil went to was the area where the martial artists of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple were located. In the blink of an eye, 3 martial artists of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple were killed. Apart from the Venerable Mingyang, there were only 8 Supremes left in the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Puff, 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 puff. The Sword of Evil would not hold back. In the blink of an eye, another 4 Supremes from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple were killed. How boring. The physiques of these martial artists are too weak. They can't withstand my possession at all. The Sword of Evil curled his lips and returned to Ningyu's side. Too weak. I'll leave them to you. I'll rest for a while. As he spoke, the Sword of Evil turned into a shadow and entered one of the King middle grade flying swords. There are still 4 2nd-grade Supremes left. Since Sword Evil had entered the King middle grade flying sword, Ningyu did not bother about him. Instead, he slowly swept his gaze across the remaining 4 2nd-grade Supremes from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Ningyu, why, what do you want? No matter how strong he was, even Lin Yuan was killed. The remaining 4 2nd-grade Supremes were so scared that they almost peed their pants. Don't you know what I want? Ningyu said indifferently. You people from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple want to kill me. Am I not allowed to kill you? What a joke. Ningyu, it's not us who want to kill you. The one who wants to kill you is Venerable Mingyang. It has nothing to do with us. The 4 2nd-grade Supremes shivered. Haha, you guys are smart. You've put everything aside. Ningyu smiled. Then, he stomped on the ground and dashed out. Puff, 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 puff. Ningyu's sword was extremely fast. Before the 4 second-grade Supremes could react, he had already stabbed out 4 times. Every stab was aimed at the heart of a Grade 2 human Supreme expert. 4 stabs and 4 second-grade Supremes were all killed. All of you, come at me together. After getting rid of all the martial artists from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple, Ningyu stood in mid-air with the red demon sword in his hand. His gaze swept across the martial artists from the Corpse Sect and Blood God Palace. Ningyu, leave these people to me. You should rest as soon as possible. At this moment, the 8-legged centipede flew over from afar and hovered beside Ningyu. The reason why the 8-legged centipede didn't attack earlier was that he was cultivating by swallowing royal grade origin crystals. Now that he had recovered to his peak state, he naturally had to share Ningyu's burden. All right. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, don't hold back. Kill as many as you see. The Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect wanted to cause trouble for Ningyu. If Ningyu let them go, it wouldn't be kindness but stupidity. Ningyu definitely wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Chapter 992. Chapter 992 Inch understood. The 8-legged centipede nodded and instantly rushed toward the warriors of the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect. Not good. Seeing the 8-legged centipede rushing toward them, the warriors of the Blood God Palace and the Corpse Sect immediately scattered. The 8-legged centipede was a Grade 4 human supreme, and the strongest among them was only a Grade 3 human supreme. Moreover, the 8-legged centipede wasn't fighting alone. Once the 8-legged centipede showed any signs of weakness, Ningyu would definitely help him. In addition to Ningyu, there was also the Sword of Evil eyeing them covetously from behind. Shintian, save us. Venerable Corpse Crane, we can't hold on any longer. The warriors of the Corpse Sect and the Blood God Palace began to call for help, hoping to get the help of their Grade 6 human supreme. However, Shintian and the others couldn't even protect themselves at this time, so how could they have the time to help them? Shintian's opponent was the Earthshaker, but Shintian courted death by asking the warriors of the Blood God Palace to besiege Ningyu. Now, Ningyu was angry and told the Earthshaker not to hold back. There was still a gap between Shintian's strength and the Earthshaker's. When the Earthshaker went all out, the pressure on him suddenly increased. There were even a few times when he was almost injured by the earth-shaking godly bull. As for the venerable Corpse Crane, his situation was even worse than Shintian's. The Vajra goat seemed to have gone crazy, and its combat power skyrocketed several times. It didn't hesitate to burn its vitality to fight. It's better to rely on yourself than to rely on others. You'd better pray for yourselves. The 8-legged centipede didn't hold back at all. As soon as he finished his sentence, he began to massacre everyone. I wonder what's going on in the magic treasure cave. Ningyu observed the battle between the 8-legged centipede and the others and found that the Corpse Yin sect and Blood God Palace cultivators were completely dispirited and at an absolute disadvantage. As long as nothing major happened, it was only a matter of time before the 8-legged centipede killed them. The King Kong goat's combat power is indeed terrifying. I must be careful. In the past, Ningyu thought that the King Kong goat would not be too strong. At most, it would be on par with Venerable Mingyang and the rest. But now, Ningyu had changed his mind. The King Kong goat was just too freakish. It was 1 against 3, but it was still able to suppress Venerable Mingyang and the others. One could only imagine how terrifying it would be in a one-on-one battle. Earthshaker, how confident are you in killing Shintian? Ningyu's gaze finally fell on Earthshaker. Then, he transmitted his voice to Earthshaker. Shintian's strength is not too strong. If I go all out, I have an 80% chance of killing him. Earthshaker answered carefully while fighting against Shintian. In a battle between experts, a slight distraction would lead to death. Therefore, Earthshaker could only be careful and did not dare to be too distracted. Don't be arrogant. Shintian is a 6th grade human supreme from Blood God Palace. He must have a trump card. Ningyu said in a deep voice. One should not be arrogant when fighting against anyone. Otherwise, The consequences would be unimaginable. I'll be careful. As a 6th grade human supreme, Earthshaker naturally understood this. If you can kill him, then kill him. If you can't, then don't force it. Ningyu thought about it and felt that he should remind Earthshaker. Otherwise, Earthshaker would be in danger if he forced himself to attack. Boom. At this moment, the battle in the distance took a turn. The Vajra goat took advantage of Venerable Corpse Crane's mistake and attacked the latter. Fart. Venerable Corpse Crane was sent flying a few feet away after spitting out a mouthful of blood. As blood spurted out of Venerable Corpse Crane's mouth, his aura fell from 6th grade Mortal Sovereign to 5th grade Mortal Sovereign. Shintian, switch over quickly. I can't hold on any longer. Venerable Corpse Crane wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and flew towards Shintian. They had agreed to switch over every once in a while. After all, fighting against the Vajra goat consumed too much energy. I'll let you have it. Shintian was worried about not being able to escape. Now that Venerable Corpse Crane was here, he quickly forced Earthshaker back and rushed towards the Vajra goat. Ha ha ha, Earthshaker, let me, Venerable Corpse Crane, end your arrogance. Venerable Corpse Crane looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. Venerable Corpse Crane's thinking was simple. Fighting against Earthshaker was purely for him to rest. He punched out with 50% of his strength, symbolically blasting towards Earth-shaking Godly Ox. Good chance. Earth-shaking Godly Ox's eyes lit up as he looked at the Venerable Corpse Crane that was approaching him. I'll take your life while you're down. Venerable Corpse Crane's irrational behavior was an illness that had to be treated. However, Earthshaker would never give Venerable Corpse Crane a chance. Not good. Earthshaker injected all the energy in his body into the horn on his head and stabbed it towards Venerable Corpse Crane. Sensing the violent energy contained in the horn on Earthshaker's head, Venerable Corpse Crane's expression changed drastically and he quickly retreated. However, Venerable Corpse Crane's speed of retreat was clearly slower than Earthshaker's speed of advance. Without a doubt. The earth-shaking Godly Ox's horn pierced through Venerable Corpse Crane's chest. Ah! A pig-slaughtering scream was heard. Bean-sized beads of sweat appeared on Venerable Corpse Crane's forehead as his aura dropped once again, dropping from 5th grade Human Sovereign to 4th grade Human Sovereign. Damn it, I'll tear you apart. Venerable Corpse Crane had never suffered such humiliation before. He cursed and immediately took out a black scroll from his bosom. Kai Kai. On the scroll, violent black gas constantly jumped and made sizzling sounds when it came in contact with the air. Let's die together. Venerable Corpse Crane flipped his wrist and was about to throw the scroll. Poof. However, before Venerable Corpse Crane could throw the scroll, he felt his body lighten and flew several feet away. What? After collapsing, Venerable Corpse Crane looked at his empty palm, his face drained of blood. This is your trump card. Ningyu separated a bit of his soul force into the scroll to check what it was. Hiss. As soon as his soul force entered the scroll, Ningyu quickly retracted it. If it wasn't for Ningyu's quick reaction, his soul force would have been destroyed. It should be an ancient scroll. Ningyu directly sealed the scroll and threw it into his storage ring. After doing all that, Ningyu slowly came to Venerable Corpse Crane's side and said in a deep voice, "Tell me the incantation to use the ancient scroll, and I'll leave your corpse intact." Leave my corpse intact? Ha ha ha. At this time, the Venerable Corpse Crane calmed down and even laughed. Ningyu, without the incantation, you're equivalent to a useless scroll. It's tasteless, but a pity to throw it away. Chapter 993. Leaving none alive. You want me to make a heavenly oath to obey you? Hearing Venerable Corpse Crane's unrealistic words, Ningyu was briefly stunned before he asked, "Have you lost your mind?" "I haven't lost my mind. You're the one who's lost your mind." Venerable Corpse Crane regained his composure and looked calm and collected. To tell you the truth, that scroll is called the Heart Assimilating Scroll. It's one of the most powerful ancient scrolls. As long as you open it, no one here will be able to escape from being assimilated by it. As he spoke, Venerable Corpse Crane took out a jade bottle from his bosom. There were 3 elixirs in the jade bottle. Shaking the jade bottle, Venerable Corpse Crane continued, As long as you consume one elixir, you won't be affected by the heart-assimilating scroll. You mean? Ningyu slightly knitted his brows and hesitated. If I obey you, you'll give me the heart-assimilating scroll and the antidote. That's roughly what I mean. Venerable Corpse Crane shrugged and continued, after all, your strength and talent are pretty good. I will plead for you with the higher-ups of the Corpse sect to give you a chance to join the Corpse sect. Sigh, looks like you're hopeless. Ningyu sighed as he turned to Earthshaker and said, there's no point in keeping such a person alive. Kill him. Okay. Earthshaker's figure flickered as he charged towards Venerable Corpse Crane at a shocking speed. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, you've been tricked. Seeing Earthshaker charging towards him, Venerable Corpse Crane wasn't worried at all. On the contrary, he laughed out loud. Crack. In the next moment, Venerable Corpse Crane crushed the jade pendant and tossed the 3 elixirs into his mouth. As the 3 elixirs entered his stomach, Venerable Corpse Crane's aura rose from grade 4 to grade 6. Ningyu, I've made a lot of preparations for this trip to the Beast King Palace. The heart-assimilating scroll is only one of my trump cards. You want to kill me? How can it be that easy? As the word "ye" fell, Venerable Corpse Crane's body gradually became illusory. Ningyu, be careful. Earthshaker hurriedly reminded when he saw the Venerable Corpse Crane disappear. I know. Ningyu had already guessed that the Venerable Corpse Crane would do this. He had already secretly contacted the Sword of Evil and asked the Sword of Evil to deal with the Venerable Corpse Crane. Originally, the Sword of Evil didn't want to help Ningyu. After all, he didn't have a physical body and would lose energy every time he fought. The more intense the battle, the weaker his strength would be. Once he reached his limit, he wouldn't even be able to contend against an ordinary supreme being. However, Ningyu's offer this time was something he couldn't refuse. 3 times. As long as he helped Ningyu 3 times, Ningyu would agree to help him find a suitable host. If you're not satisfied, you can change until you're satisfied. Remember what you said. The Sword of Evil definitely wouldn't refuse an irresistible offer. He held the Emperor low-grade flying sword in his hand and rushed out in an instant. What? The Venerable Corpse Crane knew that there was a powerful mysterious person with Ningyu, but he didn't expect this mysterious person to be so powerful. With the Emperor low-grade flying sword in his hand, the aura around him wasn't any weaker than his. Friend, let's make a deal. The Venerable Corpse Crane wanted to tempt the Sword of Evil again. However, the Sword of Evil was a sly old fox. How could he be tricked? Before the Venerable Corpse Crane could finish speaking, the Sword of Evil's Emperor low-grade flying sword pierced his chest. Fortunately, the Venerable Corpse Crane reacted in time. Otherwise, the Sword of Evil's sword would be enough to take his life. Do you really think I'm a pushover? The Venerable Corpse Crane said fiercely. Your strength is at most a little higher than mine. I don't believe you can kill me. After the rage subsided, the Venerable Corpse Crane and the Sword of Evil began to fight. The Sword of Evil is hiding something. If he goes all out, he can definitely kill the Venerable Corpse Crane in an instant. Ningyu frowned slightly and murmured. Ningyu had been keeping a wait-and-see attitude towards the Sword of Evil. If it wasn't for the Venerable Corpse Crane having so many trump cards, Ningyu definitely wouldn't make another deal with the Sword of Evil. Making a deal with someone who was much stronger than him was like asking a tiger for its skin. It was extremely dangerous. Bang! While Ningyu was still watching, the Sword of Evil held the Emperor low-grade flying sword and pierced the Venerable Corpse Crane's heart. I can't believe it. Seeing the Sword of Evil kill the Venerable Corpse Crane so quickly, Ningyu was a little dumbfounded and even cursed. Isn't this a little too powerful? No matter what, the Venerable Corpse Crane was a 6th grade human sovereign. Aren't you going to give him some face by killing him just like that? I've made my first move, and I still have 2 more. After killing Exalt Corpse Crane, Exalt Evil Sword transformed into an afterimage that bore into one of the mid-grade king rank flying swords and vanished from sight. Swish! Just as the Sword of Evil killed the Venerable Corpse Crane, the 8-legged centipede flew over from afar. You killed all of them? Ningyu looked at the 8-legged centipede and asked in confusion. Yes, they're just a few 2nd and 3rd grade human sovereigns. Their mental states are in a mess, so their strength will naturally drop. The eight-legged centipede replied. So many people. Ningyu turned his head to look at the Vajra goat. He then gritted his teeth and said to the eight-legged centipede, "Go store all of them in your interspatial ring." Store them in your interspatial ring? The eight-legged centipede was slightly stunned and couldn't understand why. I have my uses for them. Ningyu smiled and said. The Dark Emperor was still in the interspatial ring, and so was Furball. The Dark Emperor and Furball were both heaven-devouring hounds that could devour heaven, earth, and air. With so many second and third grade human sovereigns, and even fourth, fifth, and sixth grade human sovereigns, how powerful would the Dark Emperor be if he devoured them all? Ningyu didn't dare to think about it. If the Dark Emperor could devour and refine all of the energy, he might even be able to skip the half-step supremacy realm and advance to a first-grade human sovereign. Moreover, Ningyu suspected that the Dark Emperor could advance to a second-grade human sovereign. All right. The eight-legged centipede knew that he shouldn't ask. He stepped on the ground and got to work. Boom. Ningyu also controlled the interspatial ring to emit a terrifying beam of light, storing the cultivators that the eight-legged centipede brought over into the interspatial ring. F***CK. In the interspatial ring, the Dark Emperor was dumbfounded when he saw the cultivators falling from the interspatial ring. Without a doubt, the reason why the Dark Emperor was dumbfounded was because of excitement. He was way too excited. With so many supremacy realm cultivators, it would be enough for the Dark Emperor to cultivate for a long time. Ningyu, I love you to death. Actually, the Dark Emperor had been thinking about these supremacy realm cultivators that had died in battle. It was just that the danger that Ningyu was facing was too great, so he couldn't let Ningyu store these cultivators into the interspatial ring. Who would have thought that Ningyu would take care of him like this, which made him extremely excited. Damn it, I don't like dogs. Ningyu transmitted his voice to the Dark Emperor in annoyance, don't keep devouring these cultivators. You guys have to stabilize the space within the interspatial ring to prevent the interspatial ring from collapsing due to the huge impact. Swish. Chapter 994. The Battle Platform. Chapter 994. In Chono, Eight-Legged Centipede, Earthshaker, come back. The suction force was so strong that Ningyu had no time to think and immediately shouted. Swoosh. Swoosh. Earthshaker and Eight-Legged Centipede knew how terrifying the suction force was. Their figures flashed and they hurriedly flew towards Ningyu. Rumble. However, before Earthshaker and the Eight-Legged Centipede could reach Ningyu, they were pulled by the suction force from the magic treasure cave and fell into it in the blink of an eye. Ah! It was not just Earthshaker and Eight-Legged Centipede. Even the Vajra goat, Venerable Mingyang, Shantian, and Joding the Venerable, the 4 6th-grade human supremes, could not resist the suction force and were sucked into the cave. Even a 6th-grade human supremacy was sucked into the cave, let alone Ningyu and Venerable Talisman Marshal. Pain. As soon as his body entered the cave, Ningyu felt a strong tearing force tearing at his body. Ningyu did not want to experience this pain a second time in his life. Bang! The tearing force lasted for about 10 minutes before it suddenly disappeared. The tearing force disappeared, but Ningyu fell heavily to the ground. Hiss! Enduring the intense soreness that came from all over his body, Ningyu climbed up from the ground with difficulty and looked around. Ningyu discovered that he was currently in a spacious area. The surroundings were as empty as the wilderness, and he couldn't see anything. Where is this? Ningyu was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, they should have been sucked into the cave together. Why couldn't he see anyone? Earthshaker, Eight-Legged Centipede, can you hear me? Ningyu used his perception and tried to communicate with Earthshaker and Eight-Legged Centipede. Earthshaker and Eight-Legged Centipede had sworn to obey Ningyu for a year, so Ningyu had some connection with them. However, this connection seemed to have no effect in the cave. Don't waste your energy. Listen to me and head east. At this time, Venerable Sword Evil's voice sounded in Ningyu's ears. Head east. Ningyu frowned. Don't ask. If you want to find Earthshaker and the others, just do as I say. The evil sword supremacy didn't seem to want to talk anymore. After saying that, he fell silent. Ningyu had no choice but to follow Venerable Sword Evil's instructions. His figure flickered as he flew toward the east. Head west again. After moving for about 3 minutes, Sword of Evil's words rang in Ningyu's ears again. Since he had decided to trust the Sword of Evil, Ningyu did not ask any more questions. He followed the Sword of Evil's instructions obediently. However, Ningyu paid attention to Sword Evil's supremacy from the beginning to the end. Ningyu felt that the Sword of Evil was hiding something from him, so he had to be careful. He did not want to be foolishly counting the money for someone else when he was sold. Rustle. Ningyu followed the Sword of Evil's instructions and moved left and right in the area. Rumble. Half an hour later, Ningyu stopped. The reason why Ningyu stopped was not because he had arrived at his destination, but because he found a huge battle platform not far away from him. The battle platform was huge and had a radius of several meters. An earth-shattering battle was taking place on the fighting ring. 3 demonic beasts were attacking a young woman with a veil on her head. King Kong Leopard, King Kong Tiger, King Kong Ape. The Sword of Evil suddenly flew out of the King Grade flying sword and landed beside Ningyu. I didn't expect King Kong Leopard and King Kong Tiger to be at the peak of the 6th grade, while King Kong Ape is at the early stage of the 7th grade. The Sword of Evil's expression was slightly solemn. In his knowledge, King Kong Ape should only be at the peak of the 6th grade. Who would have thought that he would advance to the early stage of the 7th grade? This is a little troublesome. The Sword of Evil's eyes turned as he secretly thought of a countermeasure. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, 2 figures approached from afar and gradually appeared in front of Ningyu and the Sword of Evil. Earthshaker and 8-legged centipede. Ningyu. When the Earthshaker and the others saw Ningyu, their faces immediately lit up. To be able to find Ningyu again in this godforsaken place was truly not easy. How did you find this place? Ningyu frowned and asked in confusion. He could only find this place because of the Sword of Evil's help. We have stayed in the Beast King's palace for a long time, so we have some understanding of the situation in the magic treasure cave. Earthshaker said, the 3 demonic beasts on the battle platform are the 3 generals of the Beast King, King Kong Leopard, King Kong Tiger, and King Kong Ape. Who is the woman fighting them? Ningyu asked. I don't know the details. I only know that the woman has been in the Beast King's palace since 18 years ago. I heard that she came to the Beast King's palace to look for the Beast King, but I don't know the details. Earthshaker explained. Whoosh. Suddenly, several figures cut through the void and landed beside Ningyu. The Venerable Mingyang, Shantian, and Jiuding the Venerable. Ningyu, it seems that enemies are bound to meet. Jiuding the Venerable snorted coldly at Ningyu as soon as he appeared. Ningyu could not be bothered with Jiuding the Venerable. They were enemies now, so there was no point in talking. You're courting death. Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, Jiuding the Venerable growled and dashed towards Ningyu in a flash. Don't move. Let me, Jiuding the Venerable. Ningyu waved his hand, gesturing for Earthshaker and 8-legged centipede not to help. Ningyu's senses were strong, so he could naturally tell that Jiuding the Venerable was not at his peak. How could Ningyu let go of such a good opportunity? At his peak, Jiuding the Venerable was a 6th grade human supreme martial artist. Ningyu was naturally no match for him. Jiuding the Venerable now only had about 70% of his peak strength. 3 lives palm. In the next moment, Ningyu wrapped all the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness around his wrist and launched a backhand attack. Child's play. Feeling the violent Yuan Qi fluctuation from Ningyu's wrist, Jiuding the Venerable's heart skipped a beat. But on the surface, he said coldly, I'll show you the 9 Cauldron Divine Pavilion's secret technique, 9 Cauldron Fist. Pa. The fist and palm collided. A huge shockwave spread out from between Ningyu and Jiuding the Venerable, spreading in all directions. Shio. Shio. After one move, Ningyu and Jiuding the Venerable retreated. Venerable, at this moment, the young woman on the stage suddenly froze. Bang! It was this 1 second of distraction that gave the diamond ape the chance to land a punch on her chest. The huge force caused the young woman to spit out a mouthful of blood. Get out of my way. The young woman looked up to the sky and shouted, then waved her hands repeatedly. As the young woman waved her hands, a huge vortex suddenly appeared above her head. Chapter 995. Chapter 995. The Beast King Not Good. Retreat, now. The Vajra ape's face drastically changed when he saw the terrifying vortex in the sky. Without any time to think, the Vajra ape's figure flashed and flew out of the battle stage. Rustle, rustle. Seeing the Vajra ape fly away, the Vajra panther and Vajra tiger did not dare to delay and instantly scattered. Me. The young lady coldly snorted as she abruptly pushed her hands forward. Rustle. The terrifying vortex seemed to have eyes as it swept towards the Vajra apes and the rest. Boom, boom, boom. Facing the terrifying vortex, the Vajra apes and the rest were insignificant. 3 cold beams shot out from the vortex and struck the Vajra apes and the rest. Rumble. The Vajra apes and the rest were blown back several feet as the restrictions around the battle stage instantly collapsed. Whoosh. The young woman didn't kill them all. Instead, she stomped on the ground and flew towards Ningyu. Not good. A trace of fear appeared in Ningyu's eyes as he looked at the young woman who was approaching him. Terrifying. This was too terrifying. The Vajra tiger and Vajra panther were both pinnacle grade 6 human sovereigns, while the Vajra ape was a grade 7 human sovereign. If they weren't a match for the young lady, then wouldn't he have no chance of survival against her? The young lady's speed was swift as she arrived beside Ningyu in the blink of an eye. I sense a familiar aura from your body. Come with me. The young woman did not hesitate at all. She left these words in front of Ningyu and flew towards the fighting ring. The young lady's actions left Ningyu a little stunned. What the hell is going on? Ningyu was a little puzzled and even dumbfounded. 8-legged centipede, Earthshaker, wait here. I'll go take a look. Although he was unwilling, under the powerful pressure of the young lady, Ningyu could only obediently follow behind her. Rustle. Before Ningyu could even take a few steps, the young lady suddenly stopped. Everyone else, come with me. After saying that, the young woman tore through the void and instantly returned to the battle platform. This time, it was Joding the Venerable and the others who were dumbfounded. When Ningyu was chosen by the young lady, Joding the Venerable and Shantian were mocking Ningyu in their hearts. Who would have thought that the Wheel of Fortune would turn and it would be their turn this year? They had no choice but to fly to the battle platform. The battle stage wasn't far from them, so it didn't take long for all of them to arrive on the battle stage. Fortunately, the young woman had broken the restrictions around the fighting ring. Otherwise, with the strength of Ningyu and the others, it would have been impossible to break them, let alone get onto the fighting ring. Beast King. After the young woman brought Ningyu and the others to the fighting ring, she ignored them and didn't ask any more questions. It's been 18 years, and you still won't come out to see me. The surroundings were still silent. Sigh. The silence lasted for half an hour before it was broken by a soft sigh. Suyun, why do you have to do this? Buzz. Not long after the soft sigh, the void began to tremble. A man in purple robes appeared out of thin air. F***CKU. Ningyu almost cursed out loud when he sensed the terrifying aura emanating from the man. 8th grade human supreme, the purple-clothed man's cultivation had reached the 8th grade human sovereign realm. Right now, Ningyu couldn't even fight against a 6th grade human sovereign, not to mention an 8th grade human sovereign. What's going on? Ningyu frowned and murmured. For Ningyu, he had to figure out the current situation. Only by doing so could he think of a way to escape. Hand over the supreme celestial pill, or I'll destroy your palace, Beast King. Suyun snorted and scolded, you've been hiding from me for 18 years, and now you're finally willing to come out to see me. You think I don't want to come out to see you? The purple-robed man slowly opened his palm. On his palm, there was a pill lying on it. The elixir was white and had a smooth appearance. Supreme Celestial Pill. It's the Supreme Celestial Pill. Ningyu, you must get it. Everyone was shocked when they saw the white elixir in the man's palm. Especially Reverend Sword Evil, he almost jumped out of his seat. The Supreme Celestial Pill was too important to him. If he could get it, he wouldn't have to go through a period of weakness after the possession. Get it? I'll use my feet to help you get it. Ningyu glared at the Sword of Evil and said in a low voice, the man in purple is an 8th grade human supreme, and Suyun is a peak 7th grade human supreme. Are you sure I can get the supreme celestial pill with my strength? This space is very special. The Beast King and that woman can't unleash their full strength. The Sword of Evil wasn't worried at all. In this space, even an Earth Supreme can only unleash the strength of an early 7th grade human supreme. Ningyu's face darkened. It was easy for him to say that. Was an early 7th grade human supreme weak? The answer was obviously no. Ningyu wasn't a match for an early 7th grade human supreme even if he went all out. Moreover, the man in purple had the 4 great Vajras. Ningyu wasn't confident of winning against any one of them. Middle grade supreme celestial pill. Seeing the white pill in the man's palm, Suyun's eyes lit up and she said coldly, give it to me. Suyun, I can't give you this supreme celestial pill. A middle grade supreme celestial pill won't be able to cure your extreme yin body. Give me another month, and I promise I can refine it to the high grade. The man in purple waved the supreme celestial pill in his hand and said, there's not enough time. Suyun shook her head and turned to Ningyu. Let her come out. Ningyu's face was gloomy. Actually, when the man in purple mentioned the extreme yin body, Ningyu had already guessed Suyun's identity and the reason why Suyun was so excited to see him. There was no other reason. Because Suyun sensed that Lu Wei was in the storage ring. Ningyu was confused. Logically speaking, Lu Wei was suppressed by the Mystic Moon Jade Pendant and was in the storage ring. Even if Suyun was a peak 7th grade human supreme, she wouldn't be able to sense it. You're a smart person. You should know what I mean. Suyun didn't make things difficult for Ningyu. All right. After a moment of silence, Ningyu shook his wrist and a beam of light shot out from the storage ring. Whoosh. Lu Wei landed beside Ningyu. Ningyu, where is this? Why did you ask me to come out? As soon as Lu Xuan showed up, he looked around in confusion and asked. This is the Beast King Palace. Don't worry, nothing will happen with me here. Ningyu smiled at Lu Wei and said. Ha ha ha. You can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by chance. At this moment, a burst of laughter came from the void. Chapter 996. Swoosh. Swoosh. A total of 3 figures descended from the void. 2 young martial artists and 1 old man. The old man's cultivation was extremely high, comparable to Beast King's. They were both grade 8 human supreme martial artist. The 2 young martial artists' cultivation didn't match their age. Grade 5 human supreme martial artist. At such a young age, their cultivation had already reached grade 5 human supreme martial artist. One could only imagine how high their cultivation would soar if they were given a few more decades to cultivate. Venerable Yang, after these 3 martial artists came out, they immediately attracted revered Mingyang's attention. That's right, all 3 martial artists were from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Venerable Yang glanced at Venerable Mingyang and said in a clear voice, I came to the Great Xia Kingdom for 2 things. There are 2 main reasons why I'm heading to the Great Xia Kingdom. Firstly, it's to obtain the Supreme Immortal Pill. Of course, I'm about to get it. The second matter. When he spoke to this point, Yang Zun paused for a moment before his gaze descended onto Ningyu. He said, it's to find this bastard. Mu Yunshan was originally engaged to the Palace Master of Emperor Palace, but she broke off the engagement and gave birth to a little bastard like you, causing a strained relationship between the Supreme 9 Purities Temple and Emperor Palace. In order to ease the relationship between the Supreme 9 Purities Temple and Emperor Palace, the only way is to find the old bastard and kill the little bastard. Only then can the Palace Master of Emperor Palace's hatred be appeased. Venerable Yang said, I've been investigating in the Great Xia Kingdom for a long time and finally confirmed that Ning Hai is the old bastard. If it wasn't for the Supreme Immortal Elixir, I would have gone to the Great Xia Kingdom to kill you. Why would I let those trash from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple go to the Great Xia Kingdom to find you? Ningyu's face darkened when he heard Venerable Yang's words. It was fine if Venerable Yang insulted him, but he couldn't take it when he insulted his parents in this life. However, Ningyu was not a reckless person. He knew that if he made a move now, only death would await him. He had to endure, and endure. What? You're not convinced? When Venerable Yang saw Ningyu's expression, the corners of his mouth curled up. He waved his hand and said, Wang Lin, go and teach this kid a lesson. Let him know that reincarnating into the wrong body is also a huge mistake. Let's see who dares. Su Yun unleashed her aura and pressed down on Wang Lin. Wang Lin was only a 5th grade human supreme martial artist. How could he withstand the pressure of Su Yun's aura? Poochie. Spurting out a mouthful of blood, Wang Lin's legs bent slightly, as if he was going to kneel down. Me. Venerable Yang snorted and unleashed the aura of an 8th grade human supreme martial artist as well, colliding with Su Yun's aura. Swoosh. 2 powerful auras collided. Su Yun and Venerable Yang each took a few steps back. She indeed has the extreme yin body. She can fight me head-on at the 7th grade human supreme martial artist realm. Venerable Yang's face darkened as he said in a deep voice. Even though Venerable Yang was an 8th grade human supreme martial artist, Su Yun had the extreme yin body. Her strength could not be described in terms of rank. Moreover, there were restrictions in the magic treasure cave. No matter how high one's cultivation was, one could only display the strength of an early 7th grade human supreme martial artist. Anyone whose attack power exceeded that of an early 7th grade human supreme martial artist would be sucked into the void. Rumble. Just as Su Yun and Venerable Yang were about to continue fighting, a loud rumble came from the void. Then, another 3 figures landed on the battle platform. Ha ha ha, I came to the Great Xia Kingdom for an extreme yin body. Who would have thought that I would see 2 of them here? Among the 3 figures, an old man in a black robe laughed maniacally. If I can bring these 2 extreme yin bodies back to the Divine Heaven sect, the sect master will probably bless me personally and let me advance to the Earth Supreme Martial Artist realm. That's just wishful thinking, Su Yun said coldly. You're only an early 8th grade human supreme martial artist. You want to bring us to the Divine Heaven sect with just an early 8th grade human supreme martial artist and 2 6th grade human supreme martial artists. Don't forget, there's still us. Venerable Yang took a step forward and said sinisterly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't mind joining forces with my friends from the Divine Heaven sect. You. Hearing Venerable Yang's words and seeing Venerable Yang's actions, Su Yun's face turned ashen. Her heart sank to the bottom. Although she had an extreme yin body and was strong in battle, there was no way she could go against 2 8th grade human supreme martial artists. Although the space in the magic treasure cave only allowed one to unleash the battle power of an early 7th grade human supreme martial artist, anyone with rich battle experience could fight one against many. This is the magic treasure cave of the Beast King Palace. Did you get my permission before you made your move? The Beast King's face was also very ugly. This was originally his territory. When did the people from the Divine Heaven sect and the Supreme 9 Purities Temple sneak in? He had no idea. Speaking of which, there was nothing he could do. For the past 18 years, he had been refining supreme immortal pills and had no time to care about other things. Otherwise, with him personally overseeing the Beast King Palace, how could an 8th grade human supreme martial artist sneak in without anyone noticing? The Beast King Palace is such a lousy place. We can come and go as we please. Venerable Yang curled his lips and said, Venerable Wind, I'll deal with the Beast King, and you deal with Su Yun. How about that? No problem, we each get what we need. Venerable Wind nodded, then immediately rose from the ground and rushed towards the Beast King. Venerable Yang followed closely behind and rushed towards Su Yun. Actually, Venerable Wind, the Beast King, Venerable Yang, and Su Yun were all about the same level of strength. The reason why Venerable Wind and Venerable Yang attacked was because they wanted to hold back the Beast King and Su Yun. The rest of the matters would be handled by the people they brought. The 2 cultivators that Venerable Yang brought were Wang Lin and Wu Jun. Wang Lin and Wu Jun were both 5th grade human supreme martial artists. Their strength was even stronger than the 6th grade human supreme martial artist, Venerable Mingyang. As for the two cultivators that Venerable Wind brought, they were called Luo Song and Shun Ji Yu. Both of them were 6th grade human supreme martial artists and were even stronger than Wang Lin and Wu Jun. My God, my God. Seeing the four powerful cultivators rushing towards him, Ningyu's expression changed and he couldn't help but curse. Lu Wei, hurry up and enter the storage ring. Although he was very nervous, Ningyu looked calm on the surface. He instructed, Sword of Evil, I'll leave the two cultivators from the Divine Heaven sect to you for now. Eight-legged centipede, Earthshaker, you two work together to deal with the cultivator on the left. Leave the remaining 5th grade human supreme martial artist to me. Ningyu was very clear in his recuperation. Given the current situation, this was the only way to relieve the pressure. Ningyu, have you forgotten about us? Just as Ningyu gave his instructions, Venerable Mingyang said coldly, me, Shintian, and Jiuding the Venerable. Who will deal with the three of us? Oh no. Ningyu's heart instantly sank to the bottom. After all this time, he still missed three powerful 6th grade human supreme martial artists. Chapter 997. Battle. Oh right. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. When he obtained the Heaven-Earth Sword formation, Ningyu had obtained 4 stones from the Sword of Evil. Although every stone could only unleash a full-powered attack from a pinnacle 5th grade sovereign, it could still bring about an unexpected effect if it was a good sneak attack. Venerable Mingyang, you guys go to the side and wait. I can deal with this half-step supreme realm martial artist by myself. You guys don't have to do anything. Wang Lin obviously did not want Venerable Mingyang and the rest to intervene. After all, Ningyu was only a half-step supremacy, while he was a 5th grade human supremacy. Furthermore, he was an existence that surpassed the core disciples of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. If he needed help to deal with a martial artist who was half a step into the supremacy realm, how was he going to establish himself in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple in the future? How was he supposed to survive in the Heavenly Demon region? All right. Since Wang Lin didn't want him to fight, Venerable Mingyang was happy to be idle. After all, in his opinion, Ningyu would never be a match for Wang Lin no matter how cunning he was. Don't underestimate Wang Lin just because he was a 5th grade human sovereign. His overall strength was far beyond Wang Lin's reach. A good chance. Wang Lin's arrogance gave Ningyu a chance. Ningyu turned to look at the battle between the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker. He felt slightly relieved. Wu Jun did not want to kill Earthshaker. Every time he attacked, he did not use his full strength. It seemed that Wu Jun wanted to subdue the Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede. After all, being able to tame a 6th grade human supreme martial artist Earthshaker as a mount was something to be proud of. As for the Sword of Evil, the Sword of Evil wasn't at a disadvantage in the slightest. In fact, Sword Evil Reverend seemed to have the upper hand. Once the Sword of Evil finds a body to possess, his strength will be comparable to the Beast King and the others. Ningyu murmured. Brat, I'll give you a chance now. Surrender, or else I'll let you know why flowers are so red. Wang Lin crossed his arms in front of his chest and said indifferently, You want me to surrender? Have you lost your mind? Ningyu was slightly stunned and said, You're only a 5th grade mortal supreme martial artist, yet you want me to surrender without putting up a fight. This is simply, King ridiculous. However, before Ningyu could finish his words, he couldn't help but curse. This was because Wang Lin did not play by the rules. Swoosh. Wang Lin's figure flashed and he charged toward him at an astonishing speed. Bang! At the critical moment, Ningyu clenched his right fist and punched with a violent Yuan Qi gale, colliding with Wang Lin's fist. When the two fists collided, Ningyu was sent flying several feet away. Feeling the soreness in his fist, Ningyu's expression turned ugly. Wang Lin's strength was stronger than his, a lot stronger. I need to advance to 1st grade mortal supreme martial artist to be able to fight against Wang Lin. The difference in cultivation between Ningyu and Wang Lin was too great. It was already fortunate that he wasn't killed in one move. I have to think of something. I can't just sit here and wait for death. Ning Yu's expression was gloomy as he quickly thought of a countermeasure. Suddenly, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat and he hurriedly said, Wang Lin, I know you want to capture me. But before that, I have a request. What is it? Wang Lin originally wanted to capture Ning Yu, but after hearing Ning Yu's words, he hesitated and asked. I'm no match for you anyway. As long as you don't cripple my cultivation, I'm willing to give you royal-grade yuan crystals. As he spoke, Ning Yu took out a storage bag and said, There are 10,000 royal-grade yuan crystals in here. If you don't cripple my cultivation, I'll give them all to you. You don't have any choice. Wang Lin said indifferently. After I capture you, everything on you will be mine. Why should I waste my breath on you? Is that so? The corner of Ning Yu's lips curled up. He then took out a royal-grade yuan crystal and crushed it with a slight force from his wrist. Clap clap. Clapping his hands, Ning Yu said, As long as I'm willing, I can destroy all the royal-grade yuan crystals in here at any time. No one will be able to get them. You're threatening me. Wang Lin said coldly. Ning Yu waved his hand and said, I'm not threatening you. I just want to make a deal with you. Ning Yu knew that 10,000 royal-grade yuan crystals couldn't move Wang Lin, so he took out 7 king-grade mid-grade flying swords and made them float in the air. Pointing at the 7 king-grade mid-grade flying swords in the air, Ning Yu continued, These 7 king-grade mid-grade flying swords will form a sword formation, the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. The power of the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation is extremely powerful. With this sword formation, I can kill a 4th-grade human sovereign with a cultivation of half-step sovereign realm. Are you serious? Wang Lin's expression finally changed. If what Ning Yu had said was true, then if he could obtain the sword array and successfully cultivate it, he would even be able to confront a 7th-grade sovereign realm. Really? If you don't believe me, you can ask Venerable Mingyang. He has the most say. Ning Yu nodded. Venerable Mingyang, is what Ning Yu said true? Wang Lin turned around and asked Venerable Mingyang. Perhaps, it should be true. Venerable Mingyang said, I didn't observe carefully when Ning Yu used the sword formation, but I know that Ning Yu is indeed strong enough to kill a 4th-grade human sovereign. Aside from the 10,000 royal-grade origin crystals and the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation, I still have 4 stones. Seeing that Wang Lin was a little moved, Ning Yu took out the 4 stones with the words Heaven, Earth, Sword and Formation carved on them and said, Although each of these 4 stones can only unleash the full power of a 5th-grade human sovereign, it's better than nothing for you, right? All right, Wang Lin said in a low voice. Don't worry, I have something even better. Ning Yu interrupted Wang Lin and said, Royal-grade flying sword. Swoosh. With a thought, Ning Yu took out the red demon sword. What? Looking at the blood-red flying sword in the air and the terrifying aura it emitted, Wang Lin's expression changed drastically. In order to attract Wang Lin's attention, Ning Yu told the Dark Emperor to unleash the red demon sword's current aura without holding back. After all, success or failure depended on this move. I'm not too sure about the specific rank of this flying sword. I only know that it's not an ordinary royal-grade flying sword, and its rank should be comparable to a middle-grade royal-grade flying sword. Ning Yu explained, You're now a 5th-grade human sovereign. If you can obtain 10,000 royal-grade origin crystals, the Heaven and Earth Sword Formation, and this red demon sword, I believe your strength will be comparable to Venerable Wind. Don't try to be glib with me. Throw them over one by one, and we'll talk about it after I'm done checking. Wang Lin said coldly. As the saying went, the skilled were bold. Chapter 998. Wang Lin, here are the stones. Ning Yu was very sensible. He flicked his wrist and threw 4 stones at Wang Lin. Stop. Wang Lin would not foolishly catch the stones with his hands. He pointed his palm in the air. In an instant, the 4 stones stopped in front of him. Swoosh. In the next moment, Wang Lin split a part of his perception and secretly checked the 4 stones. Wang Lin checked very carefully and did not miss any area of the stones. While Wang Lin was checking the stones, Ning Yu secretly communicated with the Red Fiend. Red Fiend, how confident are you that you can injure Wang Lin later? The Red Fiend's sword was very powerful, But the Red Fiend's cultivation was a little low. Ningyu thought that if the Red Fiend's confidence was not very high, then he would give up on this plan. The 4 stones could only unleash the full power of a peak grade 5 human supreme. It was not a big deal to give them up. It's impossible to kill Wang Lin, but I have an 80% chance of injuring him. The Red Fiend answered. Alright, the most important thing now is to kill Wang Lin. As long as we can kill Wang Lin, we will definitely be able to intimidate Venerable Mingyang and the others. When that time comes, we will have time to rest, Ningyu said in a low voice. The stones are fine. Throw the rest over too. At this moment, Wang Lin had already checked the 4 stones and put them into a storage bag. Don't worry, I said I would give them to you, so I will definitely give them to you. Ningyu grabbed the storage bag and threw it to Wang Lin. There were more than 10,000 royal grade origin crystals in the storage bag. Ningyu threw them all to Wang Lin. This was a big sacrifice. However, in order to severely injure Wang Lin later, everything was worth it. Stop. The same actions, the same measures. Wang Lin used the same method to check the bag of holding. Then he moved the more than 10,000 royal grade origin crystals into his own bag of holding. As for Ningyu's bag of holding, he threw it to the side. Go! Wang Lin had just received the royal grade origin crystals when Ningyu controlled the 7 mid-grade king rank flying swords to slowly fly towards Wang Lin. At the same time, Ningyu also told Wang Lin the method to practice the sword formation of heaven and earth. When he heard the incantation and saw the 7 mid-grade king rank flying swords flying towards him, Wang Lin felt that something was wrong. I don't believe that Ningyu can overturn the heavens. Wang Lin shook his head and carefully checked the mid-grade king rank flying swords. After a while, Wang Lin collected his thoughts and said to Venerable Mingyang, "Come over and try to practice the sword formation of heaven and earth. I want to see if there's any problem with the sword formation of heaven and earth that Ningyu gave me." "I'm not going to do it." Venerable Mingyang's face was very ugly. He was furious with what Wang Lin had done. "You're afraid that Ningyu has tampered with the sword formation of heaven and earth, but am I not?" However, Venerable Mingyang's status in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and his own strength were not as good as Wang Lin. He could only choose to swallow his anger and walk towards Wang Lin step by step. The journey that should have taken more than 10 seconds was forcibly completed by Venerable Mingyang in 2 minutes. Stop dilly-dallying. Remember the incantation and practice quickly. Wang Lin told Venerable Mingyang part of the incantation that Ningyu had told him. Venerable Mingyang also began to practice obediently. After about 10 minutes, seeing that Venerable Mingyang did not have any discomfort, Wang Lin waved his hand and said, "Stop. Go to the cool side and stay there. I don't need you here." "Okay." Venerable Mingyang dared not say anything even though he was angry. Reality was like this. If one's status was not as high or as strong as others, one could only swallow one's anger. "Give me the stone, the sword formation, and the royal grade origin crystal. You only have the royal grade flying sword left." Wang Lin looked at Ningyu and said faintly, "Don't worry. Since I said I'll give you the royal grade flying sword, I'll definitely give it to you." Ningyu smiled and threw the red demon sword to Wang Lin. Swoosh swoosh. The red demon sword drew a beautiful arc in the air and quickly arrived in front of Wang Lin. Although Wang Lin relaxed a little, he still did not grab the red demon sword with his hands. Instead, he separated a wisp of his perception into the red demon sword and carefully examined it. The red demon sword was the spiritual body of the red demon sword. He was hidden in the red demon sword, so Wang Lin naturally could not discover him. "Wang Lin, you've obtained everything. You won't cripple my cultivation, will you?" Ningyu was worried that Wang Lin would find something wrong with his examination, so he hurriedly said, "I've even given you the red demon sword. If you want to cripple my cultivation, it won't be right. Don't worry. I, Wang Lin, am a man of my word. I definitely won't cripple your cultivation." Wang Lin completely dispelled his worries. He grabbed the red demon sword and twirled it in the air a few times before saying, "Venerable Mingyang." "Yes." Venerable Mingyang replied. "I can't cripple Ningyu's cultivation, but it's fine with you. Go, cripple Ningyu's cultivation." Wang Lin held the red demon's sword and pointed it at Ning Yu. How dare you go back on your word? Ning Yu's expression was extremely cold. I've given you all the good stuff, but you actually let Venerable Mingyang attack me. Ha ha ha, didn't that be *tch Mu Yunshan tell you that you can't trust the words of strangers? Wang Lin said sinisterly. I originally planned to break the tendons in your limbs, but since you've given me so many good things, I've decided to only cripple your cultivation. Venerable Mingyang, what are you waiting for? Wang Lin said coldly when he saw Venerable Mingyang standing still. I'll do it now. Venerable Mingyang stomped his feet on the ground and charged forward. Looking at Venerable Mingyang charging forward, Wang Lin's lips curled up. You can't have given me so many things for no reason. There must be a trick, he muttered. Wang Lin was very smart. Although he appeared to be completely relaxed on the surface, he was very cautious on the inside. His aura was locked on the red demon sword to prevent Ning Yu from leaving any tricks in the red demon sword. Now that Venerable Mingyang and Ning Yu were fighting, it was a good opportunity for him. He paid attention to Ning Yu's reaction and the red demon sword at the same time. Triple birth palm. The red demon sword and the heaven and earth sword formation were both in Wang Lin's hands. Ning Yu could only summon the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness and wrap it around his palm. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 palm prints flew toward Venerable Mingyang from 3 different directions. A piece of cake. Facing the 3 terrifying palm prints, Venerable Mingyang did not take them seriously. He fanned out 3 even more terrifying palm prints, which collided with the triple birth palm. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The palm prints collided and both dissipated in the air. On the other hand, Venerable Mingyang had already arrived in front of Ning Yu and punched at Ning Yu's chest. Bang! A crisp sound was heard. The huge force from his chest caused Ning Yu's body to fly several feet away. Ning Yu only stopped when he fell to the edge of the fighting ring. Fart. Chapter 999. Success. So it's just a wax spear. Impressive, but useless. Seeing Ning Yu spitting blood from Venerable Mingyang's attack, Wang Lin revealed a disdainful expression. Initially, Wang Lin was worried that Ning Yu might have some tricks up his sleeves. He might have done something to the red demon sword. But now, he had completely dispelled this concern. For a weak martial artist like Ning Yu, even if he had done something, what could he do to him? Could it be that a martial artist who was half a step into the supremacy realm could think of a way to injure him? Serve him well. Just don't kill him. Wang Lin said to Venerable Mingyang, bring him back. We can still get a lot of benefits from the Supreme Elder. Understood. Venerable Mingyang knew that Ning Yu was someone many Supreme Elders were looking for. Using Ning Yu could exchange for a lot of resources. While Wang Lin and the others ate the meat, he should be able to get some soup. Bang! Bang! At this moment, 2 sounds rang out on the other side of the battlefield. Then, the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker fell to the ground beside Ning Yu like kites with their strings cut. Wu Jun's strength was not inferior to Wang Lin's. If the Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede fought him, they would not stand a chance. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Seeing that the Earthshaker and the 8-legged centipede were defeated, Wang Lin held the red demon sword in his hand and leaped to Ning Yu's side. He laughed and said, as expected of fellow sufferers, even the place where you landed is the same. Then, Wang Lin said to Wu Jun, your strength has deteriorated. You can't even kill these 2 small fries. Humph. Aren't you the same? Ning Yu is only half a step into the honorable realm, yet you still need Venerable Mingyang's help. Hearing Wang Lin's sarcasm, Wu Jun said coldly, you're really shameless. You have the nerve to talk about me. You're wrong. It's not that I can't kill Ning Yu. I'm just giving Venerable Mingyang a chance. Wang Lin shook his head and said, besides, there are reasons why I didn't kill Ning Yu. Firstly, he's the person the Supreme Elder is looking for. I'm afraid that I'll be too strong and kill him in one move. Second, I obtained a monarch rank flying sword from him. As he spoke, Wang Lin waved the red demon sword in front of Wu Jun. Isn't it just a monarch rank flying sword? What's so great about it? Wu Jun spoke coldly. Isn't it just a monarch rank flying sword? If you're not convinced, we can spar. Wang Lin said sinisterly. Let's spar then. Who's afraid of who? With a low shout, Wu Jun's figure flashed forward and he punched at Wang Lin. Ha ha ha, Wu Jun, take out that monarch rank flying sword of yours. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand even one attack from me. Wang Lin laughed loudly. As you wish. In midair, Wu Jun stopped abruptly. With a flick of his wrist, a white flying sword appeared in his hand. The White Cloud Sword. A low-grade monarch rank flying sword that was infinitely close to a mid-grade monarch rank flying sword. If not for some problems that had occurred during the refining process, the White Cloud Sword would have been a mid-grade monarch rank flying sword at the very least. Clang. Wu Jun held the White Cloud Sword in his hand and slashed at Wang Lin. Wang Lin had a carefree look on his face. He swung the Red Demon Sword and clashed head-on with the White Cloud Sword. A crisp sound rang out. Wu Jun felt a tearing sensation from the web between his thumb and forefinger. He immediately retreated dozens of feet. TSK, this monarch rank flying sword is indeed powerful. After forcing Wu Jun back with a single attack, Wang Lin smacked his lips and said to Ningyu, "Thank you for giving me this monarch rank flying sword. In order to thank you, I've changed my mind. I'm going to cripple your tendons." Is that so? Ningyu's heart did not waver. He even wanted to laugh. Wang Lin was completely immersed in the joy of obtaining the Red Demon Sword. It just so happened that it had given him a rare opportunity. Oh, you have a problem with that? Wang Lin raised his brows and asked in confusion. Now, Ningyu did not answer Wang Lin. Instead, he instructed the Red Demon, attack. Success or failure depends on this. Swoosh. The Red Fiend had been preparing for this moment all along. In the 0.1 second that Wang Lin was stunned, the Red Demon seized the opportunity and regained control of the Red Demon Sword. He turned and stabbed at Wang Lin's heart. The two weakest parts of the human body were the heart and the head. It was unrealistic to control the Red Demon Sword to stab at Wang Lin's head. Therefore, the Red Demon controlled the Red Demon Sword and stabbed at Wang Lin's heart. Oh no. Wang Lin was, after all, a 5th-grade human supreme. He reacted quickly. However, it was too late for Wang Lin to react at this moment. Poof! The sound of a flying sword stabbing into flesh rang out. Explode! Seeing the Red Demon Sword stabbing into Wang Lin's heart, Ningyu chanted a few hand seals and bellowed. Rumble! As Ningyu chanted the incantation, the 4 stones exploded with a loud bang. Let's go! Ningyu grabbed the 8-legged centipede and the Earthshaker with his left and right hands respectively and retreated. Venerable Mingyang, Shantian and the rest also scattered, not daring to approach Wang Lin. Wu Jun hesitated for a moment, then clenched his teeth and scattered. Wang Lin's heart had been pierced. Coupled with the explosion of the stones, even if Wu Jun wanted to help him, he would not be able to. Wang Lin's heart was pierced, but he did not die immediately. The explosion of the 4 stones did not kill him that quickly. The scream of a pig being slaughtered came from Wang Lin's mouth. Ningyu, I hate you. I hate that I didn't cripple your cultivation and turn you into a fool. Wang Lin let out a hysterical roar. Red Devil, come back. Ningyu did not care how Wang Lin screamed. Wang Lin was an arrow at the end of its flight. He would die in 1 or 2 minutes at most. Wang Lin's heart was pierced and he had to withstand the power of the 4 stones. Heaven and earth would not tolerate it if he did not die. Fart. Just as Ningyu expected, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of blood after holding on for 2 minutes and his body fell backward. At this moment, the peerless genius of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple, Wang Lin, who was a 5th-grade human supreme, died on the spot. Swoosh. Just as Wang Lin died, the Red Devil Sword came to Ningyu's side. Holding the Red Devil Sword, Ningyu's gaze swept across Venerable Mingyang and Wu Jun. He said in a low voice, "Are you guys here to cripple my cultivation too?" Sure. After hearing Ningyu's words, Venerable Mingyang could not help but take a few steps back. Even someone as strong as Wang Lin was killed by Ningyu's scheme. Venerable Mingyang could imagine that if he were to attack Ningyu, he would definitely end up worse than Wang Lin. The son of that B*TCH, Mu Yunshan, is indeed capable. Wu Jun's face was gloomy. Wang Lin was killed because he was careless. In fact, your true battle strength should be between a 4th grade and a 5th grade human supreme. As long as we don't let our guard down, you won't stand a chance. I won't say anything unnecessary. If you're not convinced, you can come and try. Chapter 1000. Being deceived. This is infuriating. Seeing how Ningyu ignored him and did whatever he wanted, Wu Jun gritted his teeth in anger. However, Wu Jun did not dare to attack Ningyu. After all, Wang Lin's tragic state was still fresh in his mind. Under the premise that both sides did not use Dharma treasures, Wu Jun and Wang Lin's combat power was not much different. No matter what, Wang Lin was killed by Ningyu's scheme. At this time, Wu Jun had to be very careful. It was better to be safe than sorry. What if the boat capsized in the gutter? Wouldn't it be a huge loss? Honorable Wu Jun, should we? Venerable Mingyang was furious as well. Ningyu was only a half step to the honorable realm martial artist, but he played them like a fiddle. This was too much. T. Wu Jun glared at Venerable Mingyang and said, "Didn't you hear what this kid said? If you're not afraid of death, you can try. Cowardly as a mouse. A mere half step to the honorable realm martial artist can scare you. You've been cultivating like a pig all these years. How embarrassing." At the side, Joding the Venerable and Shantian mumbled to themselves. Actually, Joding the Venerable had always wanted to kill Ningyu. However, it was not appropriate for him to do so in this situation. Otherwise, he would have taught Ningyu a lesson long ago. What are you guys mumbling over there? If you're not convinced, you can go and test Ningyu. Wu Jun's senses were very strong and his ears were very sharp. Joding the Venerable and Shantian's mumbling did not escape his hearing system. With a low growl, Wu Jun said, "I order you to go and capture Ningyu. Especially the martial artist on the left. I can see that your expression is the most disdainful. You go first." The martial artist Wu Jun was looking at was none other than Joding the Venerable. Joding the Venerable and Ningyu had a huge grudge against each other, so he was naturally the most disdainful. "Fine, I'll do it. Who's afraid of who?" Joding the Venerable had a bad temper. Although he had not recovered to his peak condition and only had 70% of his peak strength, he believed that Ningyu was no match for him. Just as he had said earlier, how strong could a mere half-step supreme being realm cultivator be? Could he overturn the heavens? At this time, Ningyu had already arrived beside Wang Lin. Ningyu first removed the storage bag filled with royal grade origin crystals from Wang Lin's body, then kept the 7 king grade middle grade flying swords. After some thought, Ningyu started searching Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin was a peak grade 5 supreme martial artist and a peerless genius of the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. It was impossible that he did not have any good treasures on him. As the saying goes, treasures belong to the virtuous. Since Wang Lin was dead, there was no use in keeping the treasures on him. It was better to leave them for the survivors. "Ningyu, I'll take your life now." However, just as Ningyu was searching Wang Lin's body, Joding the Venerable shouted and rushed towards him before he could find any treasures. "Earthshaker, how much combat strength do you have left?" Ningyu had already expected Joding the Venerable to make a move. He pretended not to see it as he quickly communicated with Earthshaker. 50%. Earthshaker said in a low voice, "Wu Jun is really too strong. If he did not want to subdue me and the 8-legged centipede, we would have died a long time ago. Don't bother with those useless things. Try to help me block Joding the Venerable for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I'll personally make a move." Ningyu interrupted Earthshaker and said, "Understood." Earthshaker gritted his teeth and immediately leaped towards Joding the Venerable. "Stupid cow, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." In the core hall, Joding the Venerable had already started fighting with Earthshaker. At that time, Joding the Venerable was weaker than Earthshaker and had almost been killed. Now that he was in the treasure cave, Joding the Venerable still had 70% of his combat strength. According to Joding the Venerable's observation, Earthshaker only had about 50% of his combat strength left. Under such circumstances, how could Earthshaker fight him? Joding the Venerable was very excited. Finally, he had a chance to kill Earthshaker. In his mind, killing Earthshaker first, then killing Ningyu. Everything was perfect. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was harsh. Rumble. Although Earthshaker's strength was only 50% of his peak, in the first exchange, Earthshaker still had the upper hand. Damn it. Cursing, Joding the Venerable gathered all the primordial chi in his body on his wrist and threw a backhand punch at Earthshaker's head. Joding the Venerable's punch was powerful and heavy. It could be said that it was the most powerful move he could perform at his current stage. If Earthshaker was unlucky enough to be hit, he would probably end up in a miserable state. Roar. Looking at Joding the Venerable who was approaching him and the pulsating primordial chi on Joding the Venerable's fist, Earthshaker roared at the sky. TSK, TSK. A huge shockwave spread in all directions, trying its best to stop Joding the Venerable from moving forward. Earthshaker is a strong opponent. If Joding the Venerable dies this time, I must be very careful. Seeing Joding the Venerable and Earthshaker's fierce battle, Shintian thought to himself. When they were in the core hall, Shintian's strength could be ranked among the top. However, when he arrived at the magic treasure cave, Shintian sadly realized that he could only bully the eight-legged centipede and Ningyu. He might not even be able to defeat Ningyu. After all, Ningyu was the one who killed Wang Lin. Shintian was different from Joding the Venerable. He was calm and careful when he did things. I really don't know how a rash person like the Nine Cauldron Venerable Lord managed to become, what? Heaven God Supremacy muttered as he looked at the Nine Cauldron Venerable Lord, who was at a disadvantage. However, before Shintian could finish his sentence, he opened his mouth in shock. There was a huge change in the battlefield in front of him. Joding the Venerable's fist, which contained violent vitality, suddenly changed direction when it was about to reach Earthshaker and hit Ningyu. Die. Joding the Venerable had planned this all along. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. As long as he could kill Ningyu by surprise, Earthshaker would not be able to cause too much trouble. I knew you would do this. Ningyu's lips curled up into a smile. He held the red demon sword in his hand and charged forward. Kill. With a low growl, Ningyu slashed out a shocking sword gleam. The sword gleam was as thick as a person's waist and was very powerful. Oh no. As powerful as the Venerable One was, he could not help but be taken aback when he sensed the horrifying fluctuation of vitality contained in the sword light. Bang! It was Joding the Venerable's momentary daze that caused him to fall into an irrecoverable situation. Earthshaker seized the opportunity and hit Joding the Venerable's chest. The tremendous force that came from his chest sent the Nine Cauldron Venerable flying several meters away before he fell to the ground in a straight line. Whoosh! Joding the Venerable retreated, but Ningyu's sword gleam did not hold back. Chapter 1001. Consecutive Stupidity. Crash. The sword light streaked across Joding the Venerable's neck. Suddenly, a column of blood sprayed out. Ningyu, you. After the column of blood sprayed out, Joding the Venerable did not immediately die. Instead, he pointed a finger at Ningyu, his face filled with malice. You will die a horrible death. After using all the strength in his body to say these words, Joding the Venerable's head tilted and his body fell to the ground. At this moment, the Nine Cauldron Divine Pavilion's Pavilion Master, Joding the Venerable, died on the spot. Bang! Joding the Venerable's death caused Venerable Mingyang and the others to have ugly expressions. Especially Wu Jun. At this time, his face was gloomy to the extreme. Originally, he thought that the reason Ningyu could kill Wang Lin was because Wang Lin was too careless. It had nothing to do with Ningyu's strength. But now, it seemed that he was wrong. Very, very wrong. Ningyu was a sinister and cunning person. Not only was he adept at using schemes, but he was also very strong. Wang Lin's death was not an accident. It was inevitable. Thinking of this, Wu Jun felt a lingering fear. He was glad that the person who fought with Ningyu at the start wasn't him. Otherwise, One of the two corpses on the ground would definitely be his. After Joding the Venerable was killed, Ningyu began to search through Joding the Venerable's body as if there was no one else around. Joding the Venerable was the Nine Cauldron Divine Pavilion's pavilion master. He definitely had many treasures and pills on him. After searching for a while, Ningyu found a few storage pouches, and the amount of royal grade origin crystals in each storage pouch was around 1,000 pieces. You still dare to say that you don't have any royal grade essence crystals? Only you can say that. Ningyu pursed his lips, expressing his disdain for Joding the Venerable. In the core hall, Joding the Venerable had clearly said that he could not even take out a few thousand royal grade origin crystals. If Joding the Venerable knew what Ningyu was thinking at that moment, he would probably wake up from his anger. These royal grade essence crystals belonged to special royal grade essence crystals. In theory, they should be semi-finished products. The essence energy contained within a piece of royal grade origin crystal was merely around half of a normal royal grade origin crystal, or even less. If he had taken out these royal grade origin crystals at that time, wouldn't he have lost a lot of face? Kaka. Wu Jun clenched his fists tightly when he saw Ningyu plundering Joding the Venerable's belongings as if there was no one else around. However, Wu Jun knew that he couldn't make a move now. It was better to be safe than sorry. Many people who capsized were not because their strength was weak, but because they were not cautious enough. Wang Lin, Joding the Venerable, which one of them was a pinnacle powerhouse? If it were in the past, who could have imagined that powerhouses like them would be killed by a half-step Supreme Realm martial artist? But the reality was that it happened. There were powerhouses being killed again and again. It caused Wu Jun's confidence to suffer a setback. He did not even dare to make a move against Ningyu. Venerable Mingyang, Wu Jun was not the kind of person to resign himself to death. He knew that if he let Ningyu continue to recuperate, who knows what Ningyu might still come up with. At this time, he must find someone to continuously make a move against Ningyu. No matter how useless, he must also exhaust Ningyu's life force. Oh no! Venerable Mingyang's heart skipped a beat. He knew that things were not going well. Everyone knew that Ningyu was like a porcupine now. He could not be provoked. Wu Jun must not have any good intentions by calling him at this time. Who knows, he might be asking him to make a move against Ningyu. Go and test Ningyu. Don't aim to kill him, just test his true combat strength. As expected, what he wanted came true. Venerable Mingyang sighed in his heart and said, Venerable Wu Jun, I'm just a small 6th grade human supreme realm. My strength is far from yours. I'm afraid. If you're always afraid of this and that, how can you achieve great things in the future? Wu Jun snorted coldly. Attack together with the 6th grade human supreme realm martial artist. I don't believe that you two 6th grade human supreme realm martial artists are no match for a half-step supreme realm martial artist. Who said that there's only one half-step supreme realm martial artist, Ningyu? Are you blind? Can't you see that there's also a 6th grade human supreme realm martial artist, Earthshaker? Reverend Ming Yang's expression was ugly to the extreme. For Wu Jun to do such a thing, it was clear that he had something against him. I'm from the Blood God Palace, and you're from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. What right do you have to order me around? Shen was upright and outspoken. He was not moved at all. Strictly speaking, the Blood God Palace and the Supreme Nine Purities Temple had a grudge. If Wu Jun ordered Shen around, Shen would definitely be dissatisfied. He could not attack just because you ordered him around, could he? If that was the case, he would lose face. You're courting death. Wu Jun was frustrated that he had nowhere to vent his anger. Now that Shen had disobeyed him, it gave him a chance to vent. Cursing under his breath, Wu Jun stomped on the ground and dashed out. I'd like to see how powerful a 5th grade human supreme realm martial artist from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple is. Shen eyes turned cold as he shouted in a low voice. In fact, in Shen's heart, he did not think too highly of Wu Jun. Just now, Wang Lin had fought with Wu Jun once. At that time, Wu Jun was at a disadvantage. On the other hand, Wang Lin was killed by Ningyu. In comparison, Wu Jun's strength was definitely not that strong. Rumble. As it turned out, Shen Tian had obviously underestimated Wu Jun. In the first move, Shen Tian's defense was broken by Wu Jun and his body was pushed back several feet. Damn it. After one move, Shen Tian cursed under his breath and attacked again. Although Shen Tian already knew how strong Wu Jun was, he had no choice but to release the arrow on the bow. But it was this stupid decision of Shen Tian that caused him to pay a heavy price. Wu Jun tore through the void and appeared in front of him in an instant. His fist carried a terrifying Yuan Qi gale and slammed into his chest. Ah! Fart! A blood-curdling scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered resounded in the area. Shen Tian spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned extremely pale. I won't kill you this time, but if there is a next time, I will make sure your soul is destroyed. Wu Jun said coldly. Venerable Wu Jun, in my opinion, why don't? Venerable Mingyang said as he swiped his palm across his neck. Since he had already formed a feud with Shen Tian, he had to get rid of him on the spot. If Shen Tian were to tell on him when he left the magic treasure cave, wouldn't it cause a war between the Blood God Palace and the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? After all, the Blood God Palace would be heartbroken for a long time if they lost a grade 6 Supreme Martial Artist. Shen Tian, I'll give you a chance. Capture Ning Yu and destroy Ning Yu's cultivation. Wu Jun ignored Venerable Mingyang and said, this is the only way you have a chance to live. Otherwise, you won't be able to live. Shen Tian did not make a move immediately and was secretly thinking about the pros and cons. In general, Wu Jun had given him face. He had only lost 20% of his combat power. If Wu Jun destroyed 50% or even 60% of his combat power and let him fight with Ningyu, he would really be finished. Fart. Fart. At this moment, the sound of two people spitting out blood could be heard. Swoosh. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,